Are we live? We are live. All right. Better late than never, I suppose. I hope the sound picking me up? Oh, crud. Audio. This is what we want. We want the audio from the. We want audio from the actual microphone because that's what a microphone is for audio. All right. So, yeah, needless to say, running a little bit late today. But hey, what can I say when tacos are for dinner? I mean, I'm not going to not eat tacos. So, shut up. Stop blaming me for you not having tacos for dinner. Georgia already scored? Oh, jeez. So, Georgia already scored. That's interesting stuff. Oh, this is why it's not working. It's because it's not plugged in. Yes, tacos were what was for dinner. So I had tacos and you didn't. And that's why I'm late. And I apologize. But like I said, you eat the tacos. Okay. Is this on now? This is on now. Okay. All right. Okay, so it looks like they called the touchdown back. So I am, yep. Okay, so they called back the touchdown. I'm all set to go. We're finally ready here. Welcome to the official Team Rivalry cast of the National Championship as I adjust my microphone. Hopefully that's not super annoying, but whatever. Anyway, looks like Alabama avoided an early disaster here. 2nd and 10. Bryce Young's got the ball. He's going to fake the handoff, going to throw the wide receiver screen. He's got 9 yards, attempts to hurdle a defender, but the defender just pushes him out of bounds in the air. So great effort by the Alabama guy for that. Yeah. Well, everybody, the 2021 season is officially about to come to an end. We are less than 4 quarters away from the end of the 2021 season, which is just kind of crazy. I know this season, I mean, I was super excited for it. Not a lot of Michigan fans were in general, but I was very excited for it. Is the sound good now? Can you guys hear me okay? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here in a second so that I can check out the game tracker. So I can have the game tracker on here at the same time, which would be cool. Which is going to take a second because internet, which is fun. We always like that. I'm going to save this. Team Rivalry producer, if you are watching, I sound great. Awesome. It's the microphone. It's a new microphone. Well, it's not new. I've had it for a while, but I usually use the other microphone, but the other microphone gets a lot of feedback now for some reason. I don't understand why, but yeah. So this microphone, Shure SM57, that stuff's great. It's good. Team Rivalry producer, if you're watching, I'm watching you. The featured image is in the blog post and the blog post draft has been saved. So you should be good to go in there. Oh my goodness. All right. Alabama picks up the first down. And I am able to get the game tracker going. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to share this screen. Boom. We'll do it like this. There we go. So you guys can see the screen there anyway. That's kind of neat. Oh no, not the... man. Share screen. There we go. Looking good. All right. Well, we're 5 minutes in, and finally, everything's working the way that I want it to. So that's nice. Oh my goodness. Hopefully we have some some Twitter stuff. All right. I think we're finally good. Like I think we're finally like I'm good. The stream looks good. Everything just looks good. I'm having some issues actually watching the stream or the game though, so I need to go onto ESPN and watch it there. But you guys should still be able to see the stream or the game cast while I'm doing all of this, so we'll be all right. Lots of NFL head coaches being let go today. I know a lot of people were saying that Harbaugh was basically a lock for the Dolphins because Stephen Ross owns the Dolphins. He's obviously a very notable Michigan alumni, but he immediately shot those rumors down. So Harbaugh not going to the Dolphins. I don't think Harbaugh is going anywhere. I think Harbaugh is staying right at Michigan. I think that he was. I think that he meant it when he said that this was the beginning of something, which we're going to talk about in our first blog post when that gets uploaded here in a minute. We got the Team Rivalry producers working on that right now. And I should have the game back up here in a second. And I think we're good to go. All right. Pretty sure we're good. I think it's loading now. There we go. Awesome. Yes, we are good to go. All right. So welcome to the stream. I'm going to basically just restart it now and say welcome to everybody who's here. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching the replay of this, thank you very much for tuning in. If you're watching it live, thank you for tuning in because, watching it live is so much better than watching it replayed. But, you got to do what you got to do. I understand. That's fine. So Alabama is 4th and 5 on the Georgia 20. It looks like they're going for a field goal here. Kick is up. Kick is good. So it's going to be Alabama 3, Georgia 0. And it was a 37-yard attempt. Not a great offensive series for Alabama, even though they went all the way or most of the way down the field. I'm kind of curious as to how they're going to shake out the rest of the game. I feel like the biggest matchup to watch with a game like this, I think, would be Alabama's offense versus Georgia's defense. Just because Georgia's defense smothered Michigan in a way that was, that game was brutal for Michigan's offense, and Michigan was only ever able to get a touchdown in garbage time. So it'll be really interesting to see what Georgia does against Alabama's offense again this time. Mainly on S's and P's. Oh, okay. Is it just too loud? I can turn the microphone down a little. Let me know if that helps. Yeah, so honestly, it looked like Georgia's defense was just smothering Michigan's offense. And Michigan's offense, that was kind of a big deal for them because Michigan was coming into the game averaging something like 30, 35 points a game. They were looking good for the better part of the season. Well, for all of the season, including against Michigan State, putting up 33 points against them as well. So kind of a big deal there that Georgia was able to do that against Michigan's offense. But the question is whether or not they'll be able to handle Alabama's offense at this point, just because last time, Alabama beat them by a lot. If we scroll down, they don't have it just yet. Just looking at some of the stats real quick. So they're still giving Georgia a 52% chance of winning the game. Looks like Alabama had a shot there at one point, but I bet that it went back into Georgia's favor after Alabama was forced to kick the field goal. Total yards, Alabama 41. Obviously, it was just the first drive, so that makes sense. Just looking at the Southeastern Conference standings here then. So Georgia first place in, do they do East-West? I think they do East-West. I'll have to look that up. But Georgia the first in their conference, and then Kentucky sitting at 10-3, 5-3 in conference, in second place in that division. And then you've got Tennessee, who just lost to Purdue in their bowl game. So, and the reason I want to look at that for a second is just because I want to think about the Big Ten versus the SEC in terms of team disparity from top to bottom. Now, it's clear at this point that the best teams in the Big Ten were not as good as the best teams in the SEC. And maybe that's a little bit unfair of me to say just because Michigan State and Ohio State didn't also play SEC teams like Michigan did. But Michigan also beat Ohio State, and then we're only 4 points under Michigan State. And did I say Michigan State or Ohio State? Michigan beat Ohio State, but we're only 4 points under Michigan State. So just from an offensive efficiency standpoint, I don't know that either Michigan State or Ohio State would have been able to stop a Georgia or an Alabama offense in the playoffs. So, and Michigan certainly didn't. That's not the point that I'm making. I'm not saying that Michigan did and Ohio State and Michigan State certainly wouldn't have. I'm just saying that I don't think all three of them would have. Point being that I think that the best teams in the SEC are better than the best teams in the Big Ten right now. But then you start getting into that middle tier, the Tennessees, the Kentuckys. Kentucky beat Iowa in their bowl game, but Tennessee then lost to Purdue. I don't know who Missouri played. I can't remember. That said, Arkansas, I think it was, beat Penn State, was it? If Arkansas beat Penn State, then maybe the point is moot. Because at that point, then maybe the SEC top to bottom really is just the better conference. And Purdue just had a good enough offense to beat Tennessee. And Alabama's going to get a sack on Georgia's first down play. I'll go back to calling the game here. But yeah, so I guess I think that the SEC from top to bottom is just a better conference right now. But you get into those mid-tier games, and that's really where the Big Ten starts to look better. Because I think if Michigan goes up against a Kentucky or a Tennessee, Michigan's going to win that game. Michigan State and Ohio State would win that game too. I bet Ohio State would probably put them away pretty quickly. But anyway, point being is that I think the SEC certainly deserves to be in this game, even if we didn't want to see it. 2nd and 24, Georgia on their own 11. Stetson's going to hand it off. Running back's going to go. They blew the play dead when running back was about 5 yards down the field. Delay a game on the defense. I've never heard that before. I'm listening to the explanation real quick. So the linebacker for Alabama was clapping, and evidently that is grounds for attempting to knock the opposing offense into a false start, knock them in it, whatever. I thought the point was to try and get the offense to false start. That's why the linebackers would run up to the line. Stetson Bennett's going to scramble. He's going to go for 10, 15 yards. He's got about 14 yards. He dropped the ball. He's down. He dropped the ball. It bounced right back into his hands as he was on his way to the ground. That was a great run by Stetson Bennett, except that he fumbled the ball at the end there. He's lucky to get that ball back. But my goodness, the kid's got wheels. Look at him go. He's juking, but he absolutely let go of that ball. And it was not because of contact. It just jarred loose in his hands. He had it. He was running in it, jarred loose probably because of contact against his side. Crazy, crazy play there for a second for Georgia. Georgia down at their own 30 now. He got some solid yards out of that despite the fumble. Stetson's reading the defense. Alabama is covering right now. We got an Alabama linebacker charging the line. I think the refs are going to get them again for this. Nope, delay a game on the offense. Kirby Smart was running to the ref to try and get a timeout called. It did not come in time. So Georgia got themselves out of a hole, but then put themselves right back into a hole. Excuse me. 3rd and 10 now. They should be back on their own 25, but 3rd and 10 is not unmanageable for this offense. It's just a question of whether or not they're going to be able to move the ball against this Alabama defense. Stetson's got the ball. He's dropping back to pass. He's going to have to roll to his right. He's going to try and run for some yards, going to throw it at the last second. It is knocked incomplete. He would have been short of the first down anyway had it been to completion, but it was knocked incomplete, so Georgia's going to have to punt. And if that wasn't a good offensive series for Alabama, this is worse for Georgia. Great coverage by Alabama on that play, but Georgia not looking good on offense so far. I want to go back to that false start, causing the offense to go or to commit a false start penalty. Again, I thought that was the point. I suppose I could understand like yelling and screaming or something like that. Maybe that's not great. But the linebacker honestly looked like he was looking to his right, trying to call a play. I mean, he was doing like something like this or whatever. I don't know. But it looked like he was trying to call a play there. And I don't know. I guess the refs just didn't like it. Interesting. I wonder if we can find any sort of an explanation on Twitter, because I would really like to know what's up with a call like that. So 3-0, Alabama. Alabama with the both teams have ball. Neither team look particularly offense. Just look choppy right now. That's just got Twitter loading back up. There we go. We should be. Looks like the connection's a little rough. We're running on SpyXtender. SpyXtender actually seems to be working pretty good. We got too many things running on top. It slows down, and that makes sense. If you are watching this, looking at some notes from our producer. But if you're watching this not live, be sure to subscribe to us on Twitter. Well, subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. You can stay up to date with everything we're planning here at Team Rivalry. I'm going to see if we can fix some of the audio issues that are happening because of the internet. I think it's just a matter of not having too many windows open and all that right now, because I think that it's eating up some of the bandwidth, or not bandwidth, but like, processing power and all that. Doesn't look like there's a lot of an explanation on what happened on that defensive delay of game. Yeah, I don't see a lot going on just yet. Alabama's pretty fired up about that sack that happened early. Got some interesting photos of people screaming in the crowd and all that. Reddit CFB, refs miss a clear offside on Georgia on that play as well. Wonderful start. Yeah, well, I mean, they're ACC refs, so just, okay. JT Daniels is trending on Twitter. But for whatever reason, the link to that took me to the Duchess of Cambridge that is trending on Twitter as well. All right. So, yeah, I think Twitter is what's causing some of the issues here. So we're just going to go ahead and shut that down. And we'll focus on the game and chat a little bit more about the game. Not a whole lot happening on the Twitterverse right now anyway. Just keeping an eye on some stuff that was going on in the news. Keeping an eye on everything. Alabama's got the ball, and once again, he's going to be stopped behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to lose about 2 yards on the play. Should be about 2nd down and 12 now. Yeah, that play was Yeah, that was a pass out in the flat, and Georgia was all over it pretty quickly. So 2nd and 11, Bryce Young's got the ball. He's going to toss it over the middle. It's caught for about 14 yards. Man, that was a bullet of a pass right there. Wide receiver looks like he's going to juke the defender out of his shoes there for a second. He's going back and forth, giving himself whiplash, but that's okay. He's going to get a first down out of it. Then on 1st and 10, running back gets the call. He's going to get about a yard. Georgia running defense is stout, as Michigan knows well. Most of their opponents throughout the season know that very well. Up to 3 viewers. Awesome. Everybody who's watching, share it with everyone you know. Everyone, literally everyone you've ever met. Bryce Young back to pass. He's going to find receiver about 7 yards deep. Should be about 3rd and 2 now. I will apologize. I don't know the players' names because we're Big Ten based. But, you know, the Big Ten basically never plays in this game except for Ohio State randomly getting past Clemson every once in a while. So I don't get to watch a lot of Big Ten teams in the national championship. All right. So you'll just have to deal. Okay. All right. 3rd, Alabama's got the ball. Alabama's already 2 for 3 on 3rd downs. Chances are they'll get this one. Maybe I shouldn't editorialize as an announcer, but whatever. Running slot receiver in motion. Bryce Young's back to pass. He's got to get rid of that ball fast, and he's done. Wow, Georgia's defense swallowed that one up whole. My goodness, that was some fast movement by Georgia on defense there, and the running back is going to be stopped for a loss of about 2 on the play, maybe just 1. My goodness. Wow, the pressure on Bryce Young was insane. The speed of the Georgia's defender to get to, I think that was actually the slot receiver or maybe the halfback that went in motion. I'm not sure. But Alabama's going to punt 4th and 4. Are we going to get a defensive battle here in the national championship, or are we going to see some of the fireworks on offense? Georgia's kick catcher was just interfered with. Not sure I saw a flag. Nope, there's not going to be a flag, so it will be Georgia's. Well, it's still going to be Georgia's ball. But that is, yeah. So, yeah, no call on that one. Interesting play there. Looks like it went to the ground before any contact was made, and that's the reason for the no call. Interesting. So 3-0 still, Alabama, and now Georgia's got the ball. But all in all, kind of a frustratingly boring game in the national championship. Want to see some offensive fireworks, these SEC teams with their big offensive lines and, talented quarterbacks and receivers and all that. They talk about, can the Big Ten, can the ACC, can the Pac-12 keep up with the receivers that are just so tall and so fast from the SEC? And we're not seeing that right now. And maybe that's just because it's SEC versus SEC, which is entirely possible. I mean, Georgia's defense is just as big as Alabama's receivers. So who knows? Alabama is certainly the one making the breakthroughs every once in a while with the first downs and all that, but no touchdowns yet. They haven't really moved the ball consistently. And they're actually kind of falling into the same trap Michigan did, where they're trying the flat. They're trying the sides of the field. They're not going downfield. They're going more to the sides. They're trying to, I understand, wanting to widen the field, widening the field of play. But at some point, you've got to understand Georgia's defense is way too fast for that. You're not going to be able to get past Georgia's defenders on the right and left. You've got to run through them. You've got to run over or throw the ball over top of them. You've got to cut in towards the middle. Those quick cuts, tossing the ball for 7-8 yard passes, just those dink and duck kind of things where you can get the ball out of the pocket as fast as possible and hit the receiver as he is in just that perfect window between Georgia defenders and all that, because they're fast. They will pounce on that ball very, very quickly. And if you can get a receiver into an open position, just for a second, you'll be able to get that ball out and get some yards and possibly a score eventually. I'm going to have a sip of tea now. All right. As with any championship game, there's bound to be tons and tons of commercials. So you'll excuse me if I roast the fact that there are commercials. All right, game's coming back on. They're showing the Goodyear blimp. That's pretty cool. Game being played at Lucas Oil Stadium. I saw some people on Twitter complaining about that. We'll get to that in a second. Georgia's got the ball. Stetson Bennett's going to hand it off, and there's going to be nothing there. There was a hole for a second, and the Alabama running back saw it, but Georgia's defensive end was able to get back in and close that off, and he, between the tackle and himself, were able to take down the running back. That was just speed. That was just crazy speed. Oh, I think I got the teams wrong on that one. Alabama's defensive end was able to get back in there. More speed. You know, he was able to get Anderson was able to get off his block. I think, is that the Anderson that they were talking about? Anyway, 2nd and 9, receiver in motion from left to right. Stetson Bennett's got the ball. He's going to hand it off. And again, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Alabama's defense is stretching to the sides very, very quickly, just as fast as Georgia's defense is doing. And neither team can find any success to the right or left. It looks like both teams are just going to have to figure out a way to go over top. But man, the linebacker just got a hand on the running back's foot there, and that was all it took to bring him down. 3rd and 9 now. Stetson Bennett's calling for it. Now Bennett's changing the play, audible at the line. Linemen looking at each other, wondering what they're supposed to be doing. I think they figured it out. Bennett's got the ball. He's dropping back to pass. He's looking to his right. He's got to scramble again. Almost sacked. He's rolling out. Got the ball out. And no, absolutely nothing. Incomplete. That ball was thrown extraordinarily short. It looked a little funky coming off of his hand there. Bennett's running to the sideline looking very disappointed, as well he should be. That was a terrible pass. But Georgia's defensive line is letting in these Alabama defenders pretty quickly. He's not getting a lot of time in the pocket to set and throw, and I think that's going to be the difference in this game. At least it is right now anyway, that neither quarterback are really getting much time in the pocket to throw, but Stetson Bennett is definitely not getting as much as Bryce Young is. So Georgia to punt again. They're coming for it. Alabama came for it, almost got it, but just got it away. Fair caught at the Alabama 30. There is a flag down, though. There was a Georgia player close to where the Alabama player caught the ball, but I didn't see any contact. He did kind of hover there for a second, though, so I wonder if they're going to get Alabama or Georgia on a taunting. Fair catch interference on Georgia. So that's interesting. I didn't actually see him interfere, though. Maybe we'll see a replay here in a second. He didn't touch him, but man, he got close. So maybe they're just calling it that way now, that, you know, if they're close enough, that's enough for a kick catch interference or fair catch interference. But at some point, they're going to be ruling that kind of penalty the same way that they are taunting, which is just, you know, intimidation factor, which I think is kind of lame, honestly. But anyway, if you're watching the stream, go ahead and throw in the chat where you coming from and what you think of what's going on so far. It's not exactly an offensive showcase by any means, but that is sometimes that's just SEC football. We're in commercial break again now. I want to go through what the yards are right now. I've got it on my phone since we're using up the computer's resources right now. Stetson Bennett has thrown 2 passes. Both of them have been for incompletions. He's got no yards passing right now. So that just tells you how little time in the pocket he's getting. Jay Cook? I want to figure out his name. His name is Cook. James Cook, senior running back from Georgia, who has 107 carries and 651 yards on the season. Has 1 yard rushing this game and is actually the team's leading rusher right now. So Georgia's offense is not not getting anywhere at all against the Alabama defense. But that being said, Bryce Young, while he does have 64 yards passing, Alabama's only got 3 yards to show for it. So defenses are doing just enough. Hi, Grandma. Grandma's in the chat. That's awesome. Hi, how's it going? Share the video. You know, it's interesting with the playoff games being kind of boring because they were too easy. This game, I can see a lot of people complaining about this game being too boring because the offenses aren't doing anything. I tend to appreciate a good defensive battle. I really do. But I mean, also at some point, you're just kind of like, you know, there are a lot of talented players on offense. Why aren't any of them doing anything? So we'll see if anyone can get literally anything going on right or at any point. But you know what I should do is actually just download Twitter onto my phone. I don't have it on my phone, but being in or attempting to being in sports broadcasting, I probably should have it on my phone. It's just Twitter is such a frustrating place to be. All right, game is back on. We are back from commercial break. The game's being played at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, where I'm told it is very cold right now. It's even colder where we are right now, up in near Grand Rapids. Lots of snow on the ground. It was 10 degrees outside when we ran to the store earlier. Peyton Manning's in the crowd. Makes sense. He was a former Colts legend, which is awesome. Alabama's got the ball at the 45 after the 15-yard penalty. Bryce Young's got time, but he's going to throw it away. He had a lot of time. He didn't even try rolling to his right, rolling to his left. There was nothing there. At Team Rivalry on Getter. That's right. We've got a Team Rivalry on Getter. Go follow us there. We're going to start posting some content there as well. In the meantime, it is 2nd and 10. Alabama's got the ball. Bryce Young's looking to the sideline. He's calling the play now. Alabama with triple receivers to the right. He's going to hand it off going left, though. Alabama running back is going to get plowed over. My goodness, that was a hard hit. And that's one of those hits that even though you gave up 4 yards on defense, that kind of a hit will just get you fired up. And chances are that running back's going to remember a hit like that. He's got a couple of guys falling over him, too. 3rd and 6. Bryce Young's calling the play, walking up to the line. He gets set. Claps. Trying to knock Georgia offside. They don't bite. He's got to roll to his right. He throws it. It's incomplete. Wow. So Georgia's starting to get through Alabama's offensive line, and neither team really able to any sort of footing on offense, which is just crazy right now because both of these teams were very offensively minded or, very offensively powerful during the regular season. Bryce Young took a pretty solid hit too, and then had a Georgia defender land on top of him. Didn't get a chance to see whether or not he was okay, but Alabama punting again. The punt is away. Georgia doesn't pressure. Georgia back to fair catch at their own 10-yard line. That's going to be caught at the 8-yard line, which is where they'll call it dead. So it's going to be Georgia ball at their own 8. Not sure if they'll go back to commercial because we were literally just at commercial like 3 seconds ago. That's how fast these offenses are going 3 and out right now. So both quarterbacks have to figure out a way to calm down and get themselves set. But to both of their credit, neither offensive line has really allowed them much of a chance. And yet Alabama's only allowed the 1 sack so far. There haven't been any turnovers. Stetson Bennett almost had that one. Georgia's going to go ahead and hand it off. No commercial break. He's going to get about 3 yards, 4 yards. There's a flag down back behind the line, not behind the line of scrimmage. Sorry. There's about a flag down about 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. Lots of flags so far. There have been a few flags already. Not sure what it is. We'll wait to get the call here for personal foul, illegal hands to the face on Alabama. Wow. So offensive issues continuing. And That should have been called on Georgia. That's an extraordinarily questionable call. Even Kirk Herbstreit is saying that call is questionable, and we all know how much he loves the SEC. But yeah, that actually should have been, if anything, it should have been hands to the face on Georgia, but his hands weren't actually on his face. They were towards the side of his helmet. But either way, Georgia's got the ball. First down on their own, 4-yard line? And he's got about, looks like 6 or 7 yards on the run. Alabama, it's difficult to run the ball on Alabama. That's definitely true. Kirk Herbstreit is noting that right now. But I think the biggest difference is that Alabama is just getting through that offensive line and pressuring the quarterback. So as soon as the quarterback gets the ball off, there's no time. Georgia on their own 10. It is 2nd and 8. Stetson Bennett has time to throw. He's got it off. He's got his first completion of the game. It's going to be for 11 yards. So Stetson Bennett finally gets enough time to throw the ball, and it is a completion. And it's a similar play to what I was saying earlier, that he just had a little window to get that ball through, and he got it off, and it was at the exact right time, and the receiver was able to catch it and take it for the first down. 1st and 10 on their own 19.5. It looks like. 3 tight ends in the ball game. We've got Stetson Bennett's going to fake the handoff. They fake the pay. He's going long. He's got a receiver. It is caught. Wow. Diving catch made by Pickens. They're down in towards the Alabama 30, I think. Man, that ball was rocketed towards the ceiling. I'm actually kind of surprised it came down at all. It looked like it was headed for orbit. Goodness gracious. They faked the handoff, faked the pitch, and he's got the receiver running straight down the field. And Georgia is finally in business and I think has finally figured something out. Goodness gracious. So like I was saying, you got to find that window or you got to throw over the defense. And that's exactly what they did. They did that twice in a row. They've got it on the Alabama 29. Wide receiver screen gets them 10 yards. So now Georgia is firing. Alabama is backing up and they're on their back feet here. They don't really know what to do now. They need to take a second to feel themselves and get themselves some solid footing again. Just a wonderful catch. They're playing the replay right now. Goodness gracious. Full extension. Makes the dive for the catch. Just a crazy amount of awareness and all that too. 30 seconds left in the first, and there's going to be a false start on Georgia. About 3 tight ends all moved at the same time. That is the call, false start on Georgia. I think they called it on 69. Yep, they did. But I saw about 3 or 4 different players all move before the ball was snapped. So call that just a huge miscommunication. But just as Georgia gets, there's 5 guys. They're showing the replay. There's 5 guys that move before that ball is snapped. And all of them look back at each other like, what's going on? So after finally getting something going, Georgia is back on their own on the Alabama 24-yard line, 1st and 15. They're going to hand it off, and there's nothing there. So Georgia running back gets maybe a yard and isn't even really tackled as much as he just ran into somebody and then fell over. No doubt he was moving pretty quickly, but I mean, either way, he ran into somebody and then fell over. He wasn't tackled. Zamir White was the runner. Oh yeah, I can keep the players up here so I can kind of see what's going on, call it, and then get some names down here. All right, so we're back on commercial break. Georgia trailing, but they do have the ball in Alabama territory, deep in Alabama territory, not quite in the red zone yet. They had a chance to do that, but then squandered it with a 5-man false start, which, honestly, if I think that they should have or tack on 5 yards per player that commits the false start. So at that point, they're looking at a 25-yard penalty. Hey, I'm just saying, you need to listen. You need to keep your eye on the ball and listen. Did nobody listen to their dads growing up? Keep your eye on the ball. That's what I'm saying. So as I mentioned earlier, the game is being played in Indianapolis. It is 21 degrees there currently. And for those of you in the South, that happens a lot, and it's okay. It's going to be okay. No reason to worry. Nobody's going to freeze to death. It's not the snowpocalypse. It happens. It gets to be 21 degrees. Up here, I mentioned it's 10 degrees. We went to the store earlier. I checked the thermometer in the car, and it had a 1 and a 0. You know, there are times where that 0 is in front of the 1 too. It's kind of crazy how that happens. Anyway, the game's being played there, and I saw on Twitter some people were complaining, why would you play a game in a city where there's the potential of a snowstorm? People sometimes can't get hotel rooms close enough to the stadium, so they end up having to drive into the city and all that. And being from Michigan, I couldn't help but laugh, because we're basically trudging through the snowstorms of the ice planet Hoth just to go to the store right now, which is also just indicative of the current, or of the city that we live in too. We live just off the coast of Lake Michigan, so we're getting a lot of lake effect snow and all that right now. It's not like that in all parts of Michigan, but it's cold. It's cold right now. We're having a pretty solid winter. But I just, I had to laugh when I read that. But it's actually also kind of a good point. You got a lot of fans coming into one city, and they're booking all the hotels, and sometimes the roads are bad. And so at that point, but the other thing is too, is that Indianapolis is, they're south-ish, but they're used to some snow. They're used to some cold weather. I bet probably ice and ice storms quite a bit. They have the ability, the infrastructure to deal with things like that. So, if you're from those southern cities, they don't have the infrastructure to deal with snow like we do up here. And that's okay. We don't necessarily have the ability to deal with heat like you guys do down there. Just different places. That's fine. But, if you were someone from the South and you're worried, like, oh, it's too cold in Indianapolis, there are going to be a whole bunch of car crashes on the way to the stadium. No, I'll bet Indianapolis was out there salting the roads and all that. And, preparing the roads for a whole bunch of people driving to the game. Georgia's got the ball. It is on the Alabama 23 now. They've got 3 wideouts. Slot receiver moves in. Oh, an Alabama player almost moved off sides, but they don't call it. Stetson Bennett tosses a pass over the middle, going to get about 4 yards on 3rd down there. Pass was complete to Jermaine Burton. They're going to call it for no gain to the Alabama 18. Oh, I see what's happening here. Whatever this is called, ESPN Game Tracker is ahead of me. That's why. Maybe if I refresh this, it'll catch up a little bit, but whatever. If I'm a little behind, I'm a little behind. All right, 3rd and 9, Stetson Bennett and Georgia on the Alabama 18. He's going to drop back to pass. It's caught. It's caught for about 10 yards there. They get down to the Alabama 8-yard line before he's called down. And he got the ball out very fast. There was a brief window where that receiver was open. Now Georgia's got the ball on the Alabama 8. They're going to hand it off, and he's going to be tackled. It looks like he was just able to get back to the line of scrimmage. They might give him not a first down. They might give him 1 yard. 2nd and goal. 13:48 here left in the second quarter of this national championship game. And I'm realizing that I am lagging very much behind the ESPN app. I wonder if I can just, whatever. So 2nd and goal at the Alabama 9. Stetson Bennett's got it. He's going to toss left, and that looked like a miscommunication with the receiver. There was nobody home. Brock Bowers was the intended receiver, but there was no one there for him. Or he absolutely wasn't in the right place at all. It looked like he wasn't even really knocked off his route either. He was looking for the ball, didn't see it anywhere. I think he was expecting it somewhere else, and it wasn't there, which makes sense because it wasn't thrown there. It wasn't thrown to him. Stetson Bennett, 5 for 6, 86 yards on this drive. He's going to send the halfback in motion. He's going to drop back to pass. He's going to run. He's going to get about 4 yards and then be taken down. A designed quarterback run for Stetson Bennett to the Alabama 5. And it is now 4th and goal. Questionable play calling. If you are having trouble running the ball against Alabama's defense, why would you do a designed quarterback run and try and pick up? What did they need? They needed about 9 yards. That was a questionable call. But Georgia's going to go for the field goal, and as you can see on the game tracker, they're going to get it. So I'm going to try and figure out a way to refresh this so that I can be more up to date, because I would like to not be that far behind the game tracker. Sipping on some Earl Grey tea. Earl Grey tea is black tea in general is a really good thing to drink after you've had a very filling dinner. And when tacos are for dinner, you can bet I ate a few, possibly 1 or 2 more than I should have, but I did. And black tea is really good for digestion after something like that. And that's going to help me open up some room for this bad boy. It's the national championship. I got to have a beer. This will be Bell's Christmas Ale, brought to you in part by my dad. Thank you for leaving your beer here over Christmas. That was nice. That's a Christmas gift that, I mean, it means a lot. You know, that's the kind of gift that you kind of choking up. He left his beer here. That's really nice. It's a nice thing to do. Alrighty. What time is it? It's 9:07. It feels so much later. I don't know if it gets dark earlier in other portions of the country like it does here, but it's been dark since about 5 o'clock. But you know, that's okay. But anyway, if you're just tuning in, go ahead and toss in the chat your thoughts, say hi, do something. I'm curious to know what people think. I could just talk all night long, but I don't know if you guys would like all that. I mean, we're just chilling, listening to or watching the game and all that, but get some interaction going. See what you guys are up to out there. Hop on Twitter for a second and see what's going on out there. Steve Dace of Michigan Podcast commenting that he got a 4K television and it is a pretty picture. Congratulations for that thing, or for him and his new television. Go Blue Chick. I think it's supposed to say Go Blue Chick, but I think she spelled it chic. I don't know. Can we all agree on one thing? College football is way better than the NFL. Oh yeah, I agree with that for sure. NFL season just wrapped up. Or not totally. I mean, the playoffs are coming up, but there you go. They're showing Nick Saban with a graphic that said Nick Saban's got 7 national championships as head coach. Is that the most at this point, or does Bear Bryant still have more? It's Bear Bryant, right? The former Alabama head coach that had like the most ever or something like that. Georgia 21, Alabama 17. I see your call there. No. I don't think that's I think Alabama's going to win. Both teams have made it to deep in the opponent's red zone. But neither team has really been able to do anything with it. So game's back on. 1st and 10. Alabama's got the ball at 25. Bryce Young claps. He's got the ball. He's dropping back to pass. He's got time. Pocket collapses. Tosses a long ball over the middle, and he's got a man down to the Georgia 35, and Williams is down. That's the receiver who caught the ball. He's clutching his knee. He's not moving. Now he's moving. He's starting to sit up, and he's going back down. He's not happy. Oh, he's in pain. So again, another brilliant passing play where the ball was thrown right over top of the defense down the middle of the field. And I hope that Big Ten teams are watching. Oh, he came down on his ankle bad. Oh, his ankle broke. Oh my goodness. That is a non-contact injury. Dude, his ankle just snapped. Oh my goodness. It looked like it snapped. It either snapped or it bent in a way that he's really flexible, but I think even in his flexibility, his foot was not supposed to move that much. But that looked bad. He came down, so he caught the ball facing back towards the line of scrimmage and then had to turn around. But as he was doing so, he came down awkward on his ankle, and it, for all the world, looked like it snapped. But then he was being helped off the field and putting a little bit of pressure on it. So it may not actually be broken. But he's... I wouldn't be surprised if he's done for the rest of the game if they take him to the hospital or at least put a boot on him and he's done for the rest of the game. My goodness, that looked nasty there for a second, though. I swear it looked like his ankle straight up snapped for a second there. Hopefully it was just the angle of his cleat, because sometimes the cleats come off a little bit, when you step down like that. But, oh, goodness gracious, that looked bad for a second there. Goodness gracious. All right, let's just go to chat real quick. I saw a few come in. Ugh, that looked bad. All right, national championships. Nick Saban 7, Bear Bryant 6. So Nick Saban's got the most ever then. I think Minnesota's coach from 1932, 1941, and again from 45 to 50 is in third place with 5. Wow, Minnesota, eh? I bet Yost is next then, because Michigan got 4 national championships under Fielding Yost, I think. That's Bernie Bierman from Minnesota that had those. Man. Trevor Woods on Twitter says if Alabama wins tonight, they must become the 33rd NFL team and leave us all alone. Yeah. Swanky Wolverine. Jim Harbaugh would never do something like make an announcement the same night as college football national championship game. Does that mean that he's about to make an announcement? Paul Dodd says there's a presser at halftime to announce U of M's new $1 billion NIL program. Yeah, keep dreaming. But that's why I think Harbaugh is quote unquote entertaining NFL offers, is because he's trying to leverage for better NIL deals from Michigan for the players. But goodness gracious, trying to get a word on the Alabama receiver that went down. And he runs just a bullet of a route right over the middle, and then just comes down very, very awkwardly on that ankle and immediately starts clutching his leg. That's a 40-yard pass play to the Georgia 35 for a first down. So 1st and 10 at the 35 here. Bryce Young's going to throw the ball right. He's going to get about 9 yards out of that pass play. The awkward or the wide receiver that went down was Jameson Williams. We're confirming that he is not able to put any pressure on that ankle, which sounds kind of like it's broken. Anyway, Alabama at the Georgia 30. Alabama at the Georgia 29, I think it was actually, or 31. And Bryce Young threw that ball short, but it was deflected, I think, at the line of scrimmage and very nearly intercepted, but not quite. I'm going to make sure I'm seeing all of the... Okay. I want to make sure I saw all of the chats. So 3rd and 1, Alabama's got the ball at the Georgia 26. Got a fullback behind Bryce Young, and play is going to be called dead at the snap, and it's going to be a false start on Alabama. So more offensive issues. More offensive issues. Continuing. Goodness gracious. So Williams then being, I think he's one of Alabama's better receivers. And if that's the case, we'll have to see how Alabama does without him. Although they're showing a shot of him right now, and he's definitely putting pressure on that ankle. Unless they're taking him off the field. They might be taking him back to the locker room. Alabama's got the ball at the Georgia 31 now. Pocket collapses. Bryce Young got the ball off. It was caught, but for about 4 yards there, so it's going to be 4th down, about 2. Slade Bolden with the catch to the Georgia 27. But Georgia, again, being able to break down that pocket. Bryce Young had a couple of seconds there, just not enough time to find something really useful. Ball was very awkward coming off of his arm there. He's very lucky he didn't get sacked, and he's lucky that ball wasn't intercepted too. And Williams, he's definitely putting pressure on that ankle. He is walking off the field under his own power. Alabama with a field goal attempt. 45 yards, just slides it in. What a kick. Great to see Williams putting weight on that ankle. Alabama is going to put up another field goal. So once again, getting down deep into Georgia territory and, an offense getting in deep into defense territory. And penalties, keeping them out of the end zone. Penalties and bad play calling, although the play calling is getting better for both teams offensively. But great to see that he's putting weight on his ankle. It looked really bad there for a second. Whole bunch of Michigan fan pages on Twitter posting about how boring the game is. I don't know that you guys should be talking too much, but that's all right. Who else doesn't care at all about the national championship tonight from Barstool Big Ten Champs Blue? Big Ten Champs Barstool Blue. I mean, I can think of at least 2 fan bases that care, but I get it. I guess the thing is that no one in the country really wanted this matchup to happen. I think ESPN wanted it to have one. I think we just glitched there for a second. Are we still on? We're still running? Hopefully we're still running. I think we are. It says we are. But anyway, what was I? Oh man, what was I saying then? Whatever. I can move on. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I understand that. The rest of the country didn't really want the game to be played. I mean, Alabama and Georgia, we've seen this game a million times in the postseason. Honestly, we've seen Alabama verse in the postseason a lot, and then Georgia and some other SEC team or Clemson usually makes it into the playoffs. And I get that this is a big reason why people want the expansion of the playoffs, and I've had my thoughts on that. At first, I don't necessarily think it's a great idea, but I could understand expanding to 6 teams and having the first 2 teams get a first round bye. But that's pretty much all I got for you. I do like the idea of the playoffs not being called until after bowl season to try and fix the bowl games in terms of how meaningful they are. But you can't tell me at all that the bowl games, especially the rest of the New Year's 6 games, weren't any bit as entertaining as what the playoffs should have been. Because the playoff games were actually not extraordinarily entertaining. And I'm saying that as a Michigan fan. See, I got the sweatshirt, I got the flag, I've got the shrine. Oops. I got the shrine, I got the flag. Shrine. That's a weird word to use. But the playoff games were actually decently boring. I remember watching the Rose Bowl. That game was very entertaining. The Peach Bowl was very entertaining. Whatever bowl game, I think it was the Sugar Bowl that Ole Miss and Baylor, I want to say, played in. Very entertaining. Good game. All 3 of those games were really, really good. Orange Bowl and Cotton Bowl, I think they played in. Alabama and Cincinnati. Not extraordinarily entertaining. I mean, I am relatively shocked that Cincinnati only held Alabama to like 27 points. I think Alabama didn't play very good in that game. But whatever. Georgia's going to return the kickoff here. And he's got room. He's got a lot of room. He's got blockers downfield. There is a flag. This is going to come back. It's going to be a block in the back. But for right now, if it's not on Georgia, Georgia's going to have the ball in Alabama territory to start this drive. During the return, holding on the receiving team, so that's going to be on Georgia. So this is going to come back. 15 yards to the spot of the foul. I love how this Twitter profile is posting about how they don't care about the national championship, and yet they're probably watching the national championship because it's football. You just want to watch football, and you want to watch these teams play football. I mean, not necessarily together. Again, I mean, we would love to see anyone else in the national championship at this point. I think I am a huge Nick Saban fan, and I say that just because I recognize when legends are born, I guess you could say. I like Nick Saban for the same reason that I know who Kobe Bryant was and was relatively a fan of what he stood for, I guess you could say, and a fan of what he represented, and really appreciated it and was, devastated when that tragedy happened. Nick Saban, I'm more of a fan of Nick Saban just because I actually enjoy watching college football. I don't enjoy watching professional basketball at all, but Nick Saban is a legend, and you absolutely cannot deny that. And so that being said, I actually watch Nick Saban, and I'm a huge fan of his. But I think that when he retires, the entire nation is going to celebrate. Georgia, with a false start penalties, backed up to their own 15-yard line now. And Stetson Bennett had absolutely no time to throw the ball and threw it very high of his intended receiver. So it's going to be 2nd and 15 on Georgia's own 15-yard line now. And, more mistakes being made. I mean, how many false start penalties have there been at this point? Reddit CFB on Twitter says this is legally Pac-12 after dark. Stetson Bennett back to throw. It's 2nd and 15. Looks left. He's got a man, and Alabama's right there. The Georgia receiver was way, way wide. He was standing at the line of scrimmage, way, way wide, over by the sideline, and Alabama's linebacker was able to run in and get the tackle. Well, he just spun him out of bounds. And I guess this is his family that they're showing. They're cheering him on. That's really nice to see. But now it is 3rd and 12. Without that holding penalty on the kickoff, it would have been Georgia on the 40 of Alabama, I think it was. But now it's 3rd and 12. Stetson Bennett back to pass. He's going to throw to the halfback on a screen. Alabama's going to be right there. 4-yard gain, but obviously not enough. Perhaps Nick Saban and Tom Brady will retire on the same day and it'll become a national holiday. It absolutely should be. But I think that there's going to need to be a regime change in order for something like that to happen. And that's the most we'll ever talk politics on this show. All right. Georgia's punting again because it's 4th and 8. All right. Whoever, it doesn't matter. Whoever wins this game. Oh, Alabama muffed the punt. He was able to cover though. Man, all right. I got to pay more attention. I'm laughing at all of the mistakes being made, and the Georgia Bulldog is falling asleep in his cage. That poor thing looks so sad. Oh, that poor puppy. He wants a nap. He wants to go home. He doesn't want to be at the game. He just wants to go home. Aw. Poor guy. Lee Corso standing on the sideline. But, that poor dog is falling asleep, standing up. Somebody take the dog home. Jeez. Alabama's got the ball on the 26-yard line. Bryce Young with a quick pass out to the flat to a receiver, wide receiver screen. He's got about 6 yards on the play. Whoever wins this game, the punter should automatically be the MVP. Whoever wins this game, the punter's the MVP because, geez. NBC Sports Chicago reporting that Jim Harbaugh is discussing a contract extension with Michigan. Boom. Bless. That's what I'm talking about. It was all about that NIL money. I mean, we'll have to make sure of that. I don't know. Bryce Young back to pass. He's got time in the pocket. He's got a man wide open on the sideline. He's running down the sideline. Is Georgia going to catch him? They are. but they're going to call him down at the Georgia 8-yard line. That was easily the most explosive play of the game for either offense. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because Alabama had the long pass, the 40-yard pass downfield. But just in terms of like it being not just a bomb downfield, I mean, that was like a 15, 20-yard pass and then taken for another 30 yards. So Alabama on the Georgia 8, they're going to run left. He's going to get about 3 yards. That was a great pass. The reason I say that is the most explosive play on offense is because Alabama, I mean, Bryce Young had time in the pocket. Alabama's offensive line actually held up, and Georgia just played. It wasn't necessarily bad defense. It was just Alabama's offensive play call was better. Bryce Young thought he was going to make it. He was close. So now Alabama's got the ball, 2nd and goal on the Georgia 6. Bryce Young sends a man in motion. He's going right. He's going back left. He's going back to where he was standing. Bryce Young in the pocket to the end zone. It's caught at the goal line. The ball comes loose. Are they going to say he was in? No, incomplete. 3rd and goal at the 6. 3rd and goal at the 6. That was a close one. That would have been the first touchdown of the game, obviously. Bryce Young had to get rid of the ball pretty quickly again because the pocket was collapsing. But it was a very well-thrown pass. Alabama fans feeling the tension. The girl's grabbing her hair right here. It's kind of funny to see. 3rd and goal at the 6-yard line. We got a receiver going in motion. He's going to line up as a halfback to the left of the quarterback. Bryce Young's clapping. He's surveying the field. He's got the ball. Pocket holds. He's rolling right. Pocket collapses. He's in trouble. He's going to get sacked back at the 21-yard line. Wow. Again, an offense goes deep into enemy territory and comes up with nothing. Well, not nothing, but at this point, it's starting to feel like nothing. I mean, he rolled right, and that was a defensive end, I think, that followed him that far back and to the right and had the athletic ability to stop and then bring him down quick. Bryce Young didn't have a shot there, so now it's 4th and goal at the 19. 37-yard kick is up, and it is good. So now it is Alabama 9-3, and this is an offensive disaster of a game. Good plays are being made on offense. That's fine. You appreciate good plays on offense. What's happening, though, is Georgia's not necessarily blowing coverage or anything like that either, though. So defensively, Georgia's playing well. Offensively, Alabama has some moments of brilliance and all that. Both teams have had moments of brilliance and all that. But neither team's really been able to establish anything on offense except for some plays over the top, which have been working. So at this point, pretty much all you've got is to toss it over the middle, 40 yards down the field. Is it a 50-50 ball? Maybe. But if you're not moving the ball any other way anyway, why not? Unless you need to play a game of possession, which at this point, it might be. Former Ohio State safety Mike Doss, a 3-time All-American and national champion, has been selected for induction into the College Football Hall of Fame. Congratulations to him. Congrats to the legendary Michigan football defensive tackle Mark Messner on being named to the 2022 College Football Hall of Fame. Congrats to him as well. Some big names going into the College Football Hall of Fame. Of course, I say that, and I have no idea who these people are. If our producer is still watching, please tell me who these people are. Were they playing while you were watching? Or were they before your time? Some not quite big news out of Michigan. Certainly not as big as that report that Harbaugh is currently in negotiations with Michigan for a contract extension. But star kicker Brad Robbins is coming back for his 6th season of eligibility. He announced on Twitter. He's a absolutely wonderful punter. He's one of the best that I can remember for sure. I can't remember how good Zoltan Mesko was, and I don't know why his name popped into my head the other day. But it wasn't even the other day. It was like 2 months ago. Michigan had a kicker. Not 2 months ago they had a kicker. This was like a decade ago. I think it was under Hoke and Rodriguez. is when Zoltan Mesko played. That was Michigan's kicker. Those players don't sound familiar, but that's not saying much. Well, a lot of players have played for them. But yeah, that's Zoltan Mesko. He was a kicker. I can't remember the exact years, but I don't even remember if he was any good. I just remember his name. And his name is awesome. I mean, obviously. "2025 outside linebacker Weston Port says Michigan is on the Mount Rushmore of college football. He picked up an offer on Friday. Michigan offered outside linebacker 2025 recruit Weston Port. 2025, planning for the future. I like it. That's awesome. The Alabama receiver, I believe his name was Williams, was just seen coming out of the locker room without his pads on. So he is done for the rest of the game. No word yet on what his injury or the full extent of his injury, but he is obviously done for the rest of the day. This is his senior season. It looks like he is expected to go pro. So hopefully this injury does not cause him any issues with that. Looking at highlights of Will Anderson Jr. on defense right now for Alabama. Obviously, Alabama's defense is having a whale of a game so far. Whale of a game. I like that term, but I'm going to use it. Georgia on offense, 1st and 10 at their own 35. Stetson Bennett sends a man in motion. He doesn't move very far, but they're going to go ahead and hand it off. They're only going to get about 2 yards, maybe 3. Some pushing and shoving towards the sideline. It's going to be 2nd down, 2nd and 8. Double checking. I'm making sure that what's going on with Harbaugh is just that. Just that he was looking at a contract extension. Zoltan played for Michigan from 2006 to 2009, so he played for Carr and Rich Rod. 252 punts for 10,073 yards. Sounds like a Hall of Famer to me. Georgia, 2nd and 6. Stetson Bennett over in the middle to McIntosh. He's got it for about 8 yards, it looks like. It's going to be for 10 yards to the Georgia 49 for a 1st down. Pocket held, and that's the difference. That's what we're seeing. The pocket holds. When the pocket holds, they're able to get the ball out. I mean, the receivers can get open for a split second. There are holes in any defense. Stetson Bennett fakes the handoff, rolls to his right. He's going to toss it downfield about 12 yards. Was the catch made? No. Incomplete. 2nd and 10. 252 punts for 10,703 yards. So if you have a lot of yards as a punter, does that mean your offense was really bad? Also, what's considered a lot of yards for a punter? Because, you mean, they're averaging. I mean, you got to kick the ball at least 40 yards average to be considered halfway decent, right? Maybe, 30's bad. All right, 2nd and 10. Stetson's back to pass over the middle. He's got a man, bobbles the catch, but it is made, and he's dragging a couple of Alabama receivers with him about 2 yards down the field. I think they're going to get a total of 6 yards on this play. Yep, they are. Brock Brewers was the man catching the ball, and now Alabama is at 59% likelihood to win the game. So we're looking at about 3rd and 4 on the Alabama 45. Ball, he's dropping back to pass. He's got a second. He gets the ball out. He got the ball out very quickly. The ball was lost. Georgia's receiver was ruled down when the ball came out, though. They're going to have a gain of it looked like about 10 yards or so. Not sure who was on the catch there. Now I'm officially ahead of the ESPN game tracker. Not sure how that's possible. All right, caught by Adonai Mitchell for 11 yards to the Alabama 34 for a 1st down. And all of a sudden, Georgia looking halfway competent on offense so far. I probably shouldn't make jokes like that, but I'm going to anyway. But Alabama is just playing really good defense. Georgia to the line. They're on the Alabama 35. Stetson's under center. He's got the ball. He's going to fake the handoff. He's rolling to his right. He is in trouble. He's going to get sacked, and he's going to get hit hard too. I don't think he saw the defender coming until the very last second. Initially, it looked like he escaped, but he turned his back to the defender, and he got brought down from behind very hard. He got thrown to the ground pretty viciously. It was a clean hit. Not too viciously. It was just the momentum of the defender carrying him, which makes sense. But man, that speed from that defender, that was a speedy hit right there. So now it's Georgia at the Alabama 39-yard line. Stetson's in the shotgun, it looks like. He's dropping back to pass. He's got a little time. Pocket starts to collapse. He rolls to his right. He's looking downfield, gets it off at the last second, but he's thrown it out of bounds. It's going to be 3rd and 14. So just when Georgia's offense looked like it was going to be able to put something together, possibly tie the game, maybe take the lead with the point after attempt, they're back again at 3rd and 14. Now, I think a lot of people believed that Alabama was going to win this game because of offensive prowess. And so far, not really. But I think it's because more their defense. Georgia's defense is absolutely keeping Georgia in this game. That is absolutely what is happening right now. It is 3rd and 14. Stetson Bennett drops back to pass. He's looking downfield. Pocket holds. He's going to release it quick. They're only going to get about 10 yards out of this. He gets hit hard for catching that ball, too. I saw the name of the guy who tackled him, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that for fear of offending an entire culture. So let's just call him scary receiver number 3, because I've referred to a couple of guys by numbers at this point. So Jack Podlensky, I think is his name, Georgia's kicker. Georgia's kicker's coming on for a 49-yard attempt, and he's just going to squeak it in. Oh my goodness, that was very close to being wide right, but he just barely squeaked it in. So 9-6. 9-6, Alabama still leads, and we've got a game very reminiscent of the LSU-Alabama National Championship of, was that 2013, 2012 maybe? Just slides it in. He's happy with himself. Jack Podlesny. That's not that difficult of a name, but I'm still having some issues with it. I don't get it. All right. We got 3 minutes left in the second quarter. We've got a fairly lengthy halftime ahead of us. Should only be about 20 minutes, but you know how halftime goes. And then at the start of the second half, I got beer. So we're gonna grab a beer. It's gonna be great. If you have beer, grab one and join me with a beer, because beer is the official drink of football and manliness. Keeping an eye on Twitter here. Scott Bell says, I may be in the minority here, but I'm fine with the college football playoff not expanding. In 8 seasons, only 13 different schools have qualified for it, and only 12 of those schools have actually scored points. Yeah, okay, 12 of those schools have actually scored. I was thinking Ohio State and Michigan State were both. Hello, I'm Mackenzie, and I offended an entire culture. I got on YouTube. Why? Because I offended an entire culture by mispronouncing somebody's name. Well, that's new. Yeah, Ohio State and Michigan State have both been shut out in playoff games, but Ohio State's been there multiple times and scored points otherwise. Alabama's going to try the running back to their right. He's going to get about 3 yards. Scott Bell continues, exclusivity can be a good thing. It makes getting there actually mean something. That's absolutely true, too. So now you got to wonder, you're weighing the difference between the bowl games meaning something and taking away then from the playoffs. So would you take away from the playoffs to give to the bowl games, or would you just let the playoffs be the playoffs? Because this is Bryce Young's pass is going to be incomplete. It's going to be 3rd and 7. But this is kind of a tricky situation then. So in the best of both worlds, players are very excited to make all of the New Year's Six bowl games and not opt out accordingly. And then making the playoff still means what it means. The reason that the playoff is here is because the BCS system was thought of as flawed, which I personally thought it was too, because I was thinking, if you've got, 4 teams at the end of the season, the time you don't escape the season without at least one loss. And if you had more than one loss in the BCS era, you were probably not making the national championship. I think 2-loss teams only made it a couple of times. And actually, I think Alabama was one of those times. If you did, that'd be cool. If you didn't, I understand, because it's lame. But the playoff was put into place because there were multiple teams finishing seasons at 11-1 in at least the top 4 spots. So you'd have the number 1 through 4 teams finishing regular seasons at 11-1. And then you had them playing conference championships games, and all of a sudden they were 12-1. And there were multiple of them. It's 3rd and 2. Bryce Young's in, I'm not sure what this formation is called, but he's going to drop back to pass. He's going to toss over the middle, and the catch is made. He's going to cut back. Alabama's receiver's cutting back. He's going to get about 20 yards on this play, maybe 25. That's a big play right there. That looked like it could have been stopped behind the line of scrimmage, but that receiver made something out of it. I think it was the tight end. Nope, it was the slot receiver. Number 84 is going to come across the field over the middle here, and he's going to be open for it, but the Georgia defenders are going to bite on it, and they got there just in time, but they missed the tackle. So now Alabama's got the ball at the 47 yard line, 1st and 10. They're going to run it. They're going to try up the middle. Nothing there. About 2 yards, maybe. But anyway, so the top 4 teams were generally finishing 11-1. And at that point, you could make an argument for any one of those teams being in the national championship. And that's what this playoff was here to fix. The playoff was put here because you could make an argument for any of those 4 teams. Bryce Young's throwing left. It is just too high for the receiver. That would have been a big play. 3rd and 8 now. So at that point, expanding it to the top 6 would cheapen the playoff, because then there are 2-loss teams in the top 6 sometimes. And do you really think any 2-loss team belongs in a playoff for a league that has 120 some odd teams? 130 maybe? Is it 132 FBS teams? So the play clock was going down inside 5 seconds there. It looks like Alabama may have called a timeout. Georgia has called a timeout. MSU is advertising walk-on tryouts. So interesting. Ooh, my throat is on fire all of a sudden. Goodness gracious. About almost an hour and a half into this stream. Not even the longest I've done. But we're going all night. So if you feel like sticking around, please do. Tell your friends. Share it around. All hang out. Come into the chat. Let's talk. It'll be great. Maybe give me a call or something. I don't know. Oh, boy. Curious as to what the teams are talking about on this timeout here. I'm sure Kirby Smart is just saying, please don't let them score a touchdown before the half is over, because Nick Saban wants to try and do that. All right, we're back to the game. Alabama on the Georgia 41. Bryce Young back to pass. He's dropping way back. That is a diving catch. Was it made or did he lose it? I saw the ball bounce. He made the catch. He caught that ball. I thought I saw it bounce. Maybe it bounced after he caught it. We're going to see the replay here. Ball's in the air. He's got it in his hands. solid extension. He's got the ball, but then it hits the ground and the ground kind of pops it out of his hands. That's not, so they're not going to call that a catch. They're not going to rule that a catch. I don't think that they should rule that a catch because he didn't technically complete it, but then you know, he had the ball before it hit the ground. Alabama's going to punt. So Kirby Smart and Georgia have a chance to grab a touchdown before the end of half. And man, if they're not tossing the ball over the middle of the field 50 yards down every single play, then I don't know what their offensive coordinator's doing. I don't know what he's getting paid for at this point. Just scrolling through Twitter, seeing if what's going on. Maybe some people talking about the game here. We got pretty easy. After Stadium, looks like we're buffering. I'm gonna make sure. Am I connected to the right internet? Okay. Huh. Hopefully, I'm still live here. I think I should get a notification if I'm not. But weird. Still having some trouble with the internet for some reason. Got the extender. Might just be that my tab isn't good for these kind of things, which, you know, it's a Surface Pro. It makes sense. I don't have broadcasting equipment like I should. I'm going to wait for the game to come back. Half expecting somebody to have scored a touchdown at that point. 30 seconds left in the half. And Georgia's on offense on 3rd and 5. And Nick Saban waited until the last second there to call a timeout. Not really sure why at this point, unless he's hoping that maybe he can use 30 seconds to we'll see how that goes. I'm just double checking the health of the stream, making sure that we're all good here. All right. All right. Okay. Got the game back. Georgia's got the ball. They're running it left. They got a first down. 18 seconds left in the game. Be interested to see if they go quick to the line here. Off and on. Okay. Well, hopefully it stops. Clock's running down to about 5 seconds. I think they're just going to take it to half. It looks like they will. They will. They're taking it to half. Kirby Smart's clapping, headed to the sideline. Nick Saban looks a little tired, but, you know, he's Nick Saban. And Georgia's going to receive the second half kickoff. Bryce Young slapping some 5 with his team as they're running off. Buffering really bad. I don't understand why. All right. And it is officially halftime. What should I talk about at halftime? So, Nick Saban's talking. Let's listen to what he has to say. I'll listen, but you can't. Sounds like he's talking about his young team there. Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart's talking about the negative plays on offense. He's saying that Stetson Bennett needs to calm down. And yeah, I mean, he's absolutely right. They haven't had a single drive without a negative play at some point, and he's right. And it's because of mistakes. It's not always because Alabama's tackling them behind the line of scrimmage. They are, and Georgia's tackling Alabama too. But both teams are making some silly mistakes on offense. And I think a lot of it has to do because the defensive lines are really breaking in and getting pressure on the quarterbacks and all that. All right. So we have quite a ways to go here on the national championship game and at halftime here. About an hour and a half in. All right. I'm feeling good. I'm a little tired, but I'm ready to keep watching. I mean, I got to be up for work in the morning, so this is going to be interesting. Fun fact, Ohio State, this is from Notre Dame Recruiting. Ohio State hasn't had a wide receiver drafted in the first round of the NFL since 2007. Even if Ohio State has 2 wide receivers drafted in the first round this year, the Buckeyes won't surpass Notre Dame in first-round wide receivers over the last decade. Nice. Fake Urban Meyer says, I hate Georgia and Alabama. Justin Thind says, Mel Tucker's recruiting track record at Georgia was something else. He signed double-digit top 247 recruits, 4 5-stars, in his short Georgia tenure. Context, Bednarik Award winner Jordan Davis was his 14th highest-ranked signee. He built most of tonight's Dogs defense. Well, good for him. We'll see if he's able to do the same thing at Michigan State. Go Blue. Have a good rest of the night. Thanks for watching and looking things up for me. Most likely talk to you tomorrow. I'm very tired. Oh, boy. Oh, all of the commercials, all of the pundits and stuff like that. See what they're talking about. I don't really want to, though, because they all say the same thing. Georgia this, Alabama that. I'll go ahead and throw a note up on Twitter that we're still streaming. Hopefully I don't end up losing the game. I can actually just exit out of the game. I'm going to turn my camera off real quick here for a second. I just want to... Yeah, there we go. Got some likes on it. Sorry, taking care of some technical stuff behind the scenes here. Looks like the Twitter profile is actually doing pretty good. You know, and this is kind of the fun thing about starting a media company like this from the ground up and not really working or, not really having a huge audience and all that right now. Cause this is all new and stuff and all that. It's fun. I mean, you get to try different things. You get to see what works, what doesn't work. And, I mean, it's cool, So like we get excited about things like we've got 12 likes on a Twitter post. That's pretty nice. That's the most we've ever gotten on one, which is just a lot of fun. Got 5 minutes left on a promoted post that we're running, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the growth and stuff like that here is going to happen because of sharing. And so if you're watching this, absolutely share it with somebody. We got a lot of content that we're planning on the horizon. A lot of it involves doing some more stylized documentary kind of stuff that we're looking at doing. Nothing's really set in stone. I mean, we really do have to figure out what we want to do and what we can do, just what our capabilities are right now, because, we've both got day jobs and they are demanding. But yeah, I mean, stuff like this it's just exciting, a comment and all that. That's fun. It's pretty sweet. So we'll see where this goes. We are staying up all night. Well, not all night, but we're staying up for the entirety of the national championship. So if you want to hang out, definitely do so. Invite some friends, share this with everybody, share it on the socials and all that. Get the word out. We want to grow another sports network. Maybe it's not going to be the biggest thing in the world, but we want a place where we can talk about sports and have fun doing it. When we need more independent content creators in more spaces to create content like this where people can easily access it and just have fun with it again, no politics, none of this, none of that, no spin, no nothing. And obviously we don't really have a whole heck of a lot of love for the SEC here. So unless you're, if you're not an SEC fan, you have even more of a reason to stick around. If you are an SEC fan, we'll still talk football. I just might not like your team. But anyway, yeah, we got a lot of stuff that we're planning. A lot of really interesting things that we're planning. A lot of stuff that's pie in the sky that we're planning for the future and all that. In the immediate future, we're planning some documentary style productions. We're planning a lot of stuff for the for this podcast and all that too. See if we can get that going. So yeah, it's just really exciting times here at Team Rivalry. It's a lot of fun. The website itself is just amazing. It's a database of literally every Big Ten game ever played. So, if you're wondering how the Michigan-Ohio State game from, I don't know, 1980, whatever went, you can go look that up right now. It's super easy to find. If you're, what? I'll show you. Let me just show you real quick. I'll hop on the teamrivalry.com website. I will share my screen. And then I saw Scott Frost was trending on Twitter, so I want to see what that's all about. This is the homepage. So if you want to see just how any particular game went, you're going to go over here to the Rivalry tab. You'll see pick team 1, pick team 2. Now, we're still working on the website, so we got to work out some bugs and all that. But what you can do right now is you can go and you can pick any Big Ten team. So let's say my favorite team is Michigan, and I want to see how they did against we've got all of Michigan's opponents in here. So again, it's every game that they've ever played. So let's see. Let's click on O. Let's go to Ohio State. Earliest season, 1869. Latest season, 2021. Yeah, that's right. We've got data from the late 1860s. That's pretty sweet. Keep an eye on the chat here, making sure we're good. All right. It is currently Michigan leads the series 59-52. Points, Michigan has scored 2,078 points against Ohio State to Ohio State's 1,822. Michigan obviously won in 2021, then Ohio State dominated for a while. But let's click on page 12 here and see, okay, 1905, Michigan won 40-0. 1904, Michigan 31-6. You can find data like that on here. It's pretty sweet. What else do you want to see? Do you want to see Nebraska versus I don't know. Let's think of another Big Ten team. Illinois. How many times have they played Illinois? I don't know. Show me the rivalry. Nebraska versus Illinois. And we have Nebraska and Illinois have played 18 times. Nebraska's won 13 of those games. Illinois won the last one, 30-22. Illinois won 2020, 41-23. Nebraska won 42-38 in 2019. But let's see. What's the earliest game we have? 1892. Nebraska versus Illinois. Nebraska won 6-0. Illinois did not score a point on Nebraska the first 2 times they played. It's interesting stuff. It's really cool. So I'm just going to go over to Twitter real quick and say that we're still streaming. On Team Rivalry. Come chat. Chat about how much you love field goals. All right. Now I need to find the stream I need to, oh my goodness. I need to find the link. Whoops. All right, maybe I can just find it by doing this. And then I'll go through more of the website and see, we'll see more stuff. It'll be cool. So I follow myself on YouTube, which is kind of fun. I see all the stuff I post. Scrolling down, finding team rivalry. Looking for, I follow a lot of people on YouTube. Geez, I might need to pare this down a little bit. Yikes, where am I? Oh, I'm up near the top because I'm live streaming. Duh. Alabama versus Georgia 2, the No One Cares Championship. Maybe I should rename that. I wonder if that's why people aren't tuning in. Oh, boy. In any case, there's the stream. Let's give some hashtags here. College football. Waiting for it to load. Come on. College not ESPN. I don't know what that means, but it's got 110 tweets in the last whatever. So we go check out again here. We'll click on college football, that, and then we'll go back in and check out the website more. I'll show more of what's going on it. Again, 9 discs at the half. There we go. 9-6 at the half. And yeah, so more about the website. Let's go back to the homepage here. We have recent games that you can see our past podcasts and all that on here. If you go to schedule, you can see, you can click on the year and then click on whatever week you want to see, and there's the schedule. We have it sorted by this. These are all the bowl games for 2021. We have it sorted by, you can see the week, but then you can also see the date. So for instance, we can go, let's say, I don't know. Let's go 2010 week, or this will reload with those weeks. And let's say week 6, October 5th through October 11th. So there should be some games happening on my birthday that week. Maybe not on my birthday. So see, 2010, it looks like, so Michigan State beat Michigan 34-17. Nebraska beat Kansas State 48-13. Rutgers beat Connecticut 27-24. Boom. Scarlet Knights representing. Ohio State 38-10 over Indiana. Let's see what happened later in the year. Week 11, November 9th through 15th. What do we got? And I'll close out of Twitter and see if that helps, but geez. Internet is a little wanting, isn't it? All right, week 11. Northwestern beat upset Iowa. How about that? Oh, well, this is interesting. Uh-oh, we might have to fix that. See, we're finding bugs all the time. We got 2 Iowa games up there. That's kind of weird. But, anyway. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, you got Ohio State 38-14 over Penn State and all that. And this is way back in 2010. But we can go all the way back to 1869 and see some games. What do we got? Week 1. Week 1, you've got Rutgers and Princeton were the only 2 teams at one point. Let's see. What was week 2 like? Who played? Well, that's okay. I mean, that's the same. I mean, they both played. They were the only 2 teams. So yeah, that's what it is. And then this is a really cool feature here, though. So if you go to, or actually, if we go to the AP chart, this is a line graph of the AP poll through the 2021 season. Yep, 2021 Big Ten. Show me the rankings. This is it. So let's just say Indiana, I don't think was ever ranked. So let's get rid of all of these real quick. Yeah, so Indiana was never ranked. I think did they start the season at 17? I can't remember. But if you check out like Iowa, yep. Now we're working on it right now where you can click on these dots and get redirected to the game to see which game that was. But I think this was where Oh, who did Iowa lose to here? They beat Penn State, I think, and then lost to, was it Purdue? And then lost again. But yeah, you can see Iowa got themselves all the way up to a number 2 ranking and then just died. You can see Michigan climbing in the rankings pretty steadily, and then they lost to Michigan State right about here. Dropped down to about 9, and then climbed their way all the way back up to the rankings at about 2. So yeah, it's just a really cool feature. And then you can see how they compared. Like this is Michigan and Penn State. This is with Ohio State in there. You can see Michigan was, I think, 5 in the CFP, 6 in the AP going into the Ohio State game, which is right here. And then this was the week after. Michigan number 2 and Ohio State dropped down to 7. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a great website. We're very proud of it. And I will get the tracker back up here. Microsoft Edge tab. Yes, that's right. I use Edge. Feel free to judge me. I do not care. All right. Still at commercial. They're showing Katy Perry in minimal clothing, gyrating everywhere. She's actually wearing a lot more clothing than singers do in music studios these days, but she's also doing a lot more gyrating than they used to as well. I don't particularly understand music videos today. I don't want to watch this, so it's just making me uncomfortable. So let's scroll through Twitter instead. Speaking of being uncomfortable, yeah. Reddit CFB, props to Georgia for avoiding a halftime lead against Bama. All going according to plan. Yes, I think that's exactly what they were planning. Reddit CFB again. They commented on another, or they quote retweeted another post. So I think I should quote or read that quote first. The Jaguars plan to interview former Texans coach Bill O'Brien for their head coaching job next week after Bama plays in the national championship. All right, Bill O'Brien coming back out of the Nick Saban coaching rehab. Reddit CFB then says Bill O'Brien saw he was on the Jag shortlist and decided to coach a field goal only title game. Yeah, that seems legit. College football says Kirby Smart frustrated with Georgia's negative plays versus Alabama. Quote, "We're shooting ourselves in the foot." Yeah, well, that's usually what happens when you play Alabama. So, I mean, the game is all happening the way it should. College football fans react to boring first half between Alabama and Georgia. I mean, it's a defensive game. I'm not going to be upset about that, but the mistakes on offense are absolutely atrocious. Not gonna be upset over a defensive battle, but the mistakes on offense are atrocious. All right, my nose itches. Goodness gracious. Maybe they should hand out roller skates like they did at the Rose Bowl. Probably. That seems like a good idea. College football fans weigh in on the reffing situation. All right, this ought to be good. Curious to see what happens here. College football, this is from Saturday Down South from 12 minutes ago. College football officials are under the microscope, and it's even more apparent in the national title game. Alabama leads Georgia at halftime of the college football playoff national title game 9-6. Early in the first quarter, Alabama quarterback Bryce Young was called for a fumble, which was returned for a Georgia touchdown. However, upon review, it was ruled that Young's arm was going forward, and it was ruled an incomplete pass. That was a huge swing early in the game. However, it looked like the right call. One Georgia fan wasn't happy about it, though, and they're showing a picture of a Georgia fan, a woman, screaming. rather, aggressively. Georgia has also been called for 7 penalties for 49 yards, while Alabama has been called for 2 penalties for 10 yards. It feels like it's a lot more than 10 yards on Alabama, but maybe that's just, something to be said for how good Georgia's defense has been then. So one Twitter user said, I swear these officials bet on Alabama. I think Alabama handpicked these officials. Have the ACC officials not called anything of significance on Alabama? Yeah. TJR3 says, I'm out. Looks like Alabama has the NCAA officials in their pocket tonight. Some crap, different day. Or same crap, different day. Not going to waste my time. Alabama brought their own officials, apparently. Alabama needs any more help from the officials. I can't read. Yeah. I mean, every fan base is going to have their issues with the officiating. That's just kind of how it goes. I mean, Reddit CFB says again, extremely polite of both Georgia and Alabama to finally go up north in the winter and play a Big Ten football game. Yeah, because it's all field goals. It's all field goals. At the break in Indy, 9-6. Tight. Are we back? We're back. All right. Not a lot of halftime action going on Twitter. This is kind of boring. Not going to lie. So now for the rest of the game, I'm going to lean back. We're going to get cozy here. For the rest of the game, I don't know. What do we think? Looks like we're coming back on here in a minute. But what do we think for the rest of the game? I mean, both offenses have had flashes of brilliance, but overall looked pretty bad. Excuse me. I think I just belched into the mic. I'm sorry. So, yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be said that defensive battles are fun and defensive battles happen. I'm trying to get my wife's sewing machine out of the frame. It's another thing when offenses are making such egregious mistakes. All of the false starts, all of the penalties, all of the drop passes, the breakdowns in the offensive line for Alabama and Georgia, the false starts for Georgia's offensive line and all that. It's kind of crazy. All right, we're going to start the third quarter here in a second. But at what point will the offenses, finally find their groove, maybe settle down and put a game on here? I'm going to turn up the announcers a little bit. Georgia's going to fair catch it in the end zone. He's going to come out, I think, so they'll bring the ball out to about the 25. And we'll go ahead and we'll start the second half. And I'm going to crack my beer open after a sip of tea. Mm-hmm. Got to wet the whistle a little. All right. Georgia ball on the 25. Stetson Bennett's got it. He's going to hand it off. He's going to run right up the middle. He's got 9 yards. He's got the first down. Solid running play to start the half. And if I'm not mistaken, there's some booing happening. And I like booing, but I like beer more. Oh, crud. It's kind of warm now. Can I put Bell's label in the photo and not get taken down? It's free advertising, guys. Like, I'm not live streaming the game anymore. All right, Stetson Bennett, he's dropped back to pass. Nope, I'm sorry, he's going to hand the ball off. Running back almost lost his footing, but he got it back, and he busts a big 20-yard run. Is that Zamir White? Is that his name? Man, he's got some wheels on him. I mean, he was caught by the ankle. He makes a nice cut, caught by the ankle, and regains his footing, puts his right arm down, saves himself from going down, and my goodness, just breaks a great run for 19 yards to the Alabama 45. And right off the bat, Georgia is making a liar out of me in terms of that offensive line. All right, on the 45, 1st and 10. Flea flicker, Stetson Bennett looking deep. He doesn't have time. He's got the ball off, and he throws it away. There is absolutely no one in the vicinity. Is this going to be intentional grounding? So it was a trick play. The flea flicker. The pocket absolutely does not hold. And I think Stetson Bennett was looking for a receiver that actually stopped running. They are calling intentional grounding. So they are going to call intentional grounding on Georgia, and that is going to take away from the couple of great plays that they had before that. And I tell you what, right before the running back got the ball back to Stetson Bennett, or right after, I'm sorry, he was taken down to the ground hard. So they're lucky that wasn't a turnover. All right, 2nd and 19, Bennett back to pass. He's going to throw it short. The receiver's going to take it for about another 6-7 yards. They're probably going to get about 15 total, 10, 12 total out of this. But man, that was another broken play, but broken because of the defense, not because of incompetence by Georgia's offense there. So that was actually, it could have been a decent play. I'm not entirely sure why the wide receiver stopped running on that play, but he did. So there you go. 3rd and 8 on the Alabama 43. Bennett's got a man to his left. He steps back to pass. He's in trouble already. He's rolling right. He's got to just throw it away again. So now 4th and 8, and Georgia's going to have to punt. Will Anderson got the pressure in there. He's going to come inside here. He's going to break apart the tackle and the left guard, I think is what it is. Man, Stetson Bennett has no time in the pocket. No time in the pocket. So the punt is out. Going to be fair caught at their own 7-yard line, it looks like. Alabama's going to start at their own 7. Bryce Young's already got 206-yard passing, but you wouldn't know it just looking at that scoreboard. That's for sure. Absolutely nothing going on offensively for either team, really. Georgia in the first half, 13 rushes for 26 yards. Georgia in the second half, 2 rushes for 30 yards. Well, but then it ended in that. Dan Wolken on Twitter says, man, I really hated that call, and it totally messed up Georgia on that drive. Intentional. He's referring to the intentional grounding call. I don't know. I mean, I've had issues with that call. I mean, intentional grounding, it's almost like he's choosing to throw the ball away already. That's a loss of down. That should frankly be it. I don't understand why, like, if the quarterback chooses to waste his own down, why the defense then gets a free 10 yards out of it. But I guess that's just the rule, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. If the quarterback's going to choose to waste his own down, it seems to me that should be the punishment. He loses the down. He doesn't get anything out of it. You're allowed to spike the ball. That's not considered intentional grounding, although I'm pretty sure all of the down linemen in front of you are considered ineligible receivers. So, yeah, I've never really understood the intentional grounding call myself, but such is that, I guess. Joel Klatt's top 5 quarterback prospects heading into the NFL draft. Number 1, Matt Corral. I believe he plays for Ole Miss. Number 2, Kenny Pickett from Pitt. Number 3, Sam Howell. I don't know where Sam Howell's from. Number 4, Malik Willis, and then number 5, Desmond Ritter. Was Desmond Ritter from Oklahoma? I don't know. Oh my goodness. Nose is so itchy. Playing a commercial where the guy's got the truck and he's got all sorts of camera angles in his truck, and he can see his daughter with her boyfriend in the back seat. And, is there any funny business? Do you see any funny business going on? No, sir. I like it. That's funny. Terrell Owens is in the building. Oh, that must be who that guy was that they showed on camera cheering. I didn't know that. I feel like I should have known that, but I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Still 9-6. Finally back from commercial. That felt like a really long commercial break. So 1st and 10, Alabama's got the ball at their own 7-yard line. Man in motion from behind the line of scrimmage. Bryce Young's going to hand it off to his left. Running back's going to get maybe 3 yards. Oh, this is such a slow game. Reddit CFB, the last time the first 5 scores in the national championship were field goals was the 2012 BCS national championship game. Alabama won 21-0 over LSU, and they were all field goals. That's that game I was talking about earlier. The 2012 national championship game was 21-0 Alabama, and it was because they got 7 field goals. Oh, man, I remember watching that game just like, kind of boring, but Alabama was winning. Bryce Young's tossing it downfield, and it's going to be picked off. Wow. Bryce Young overthrew his wide receiver by about 5 yards there, and the Georgia safety was there to pick it off. First huge mistake of the game by either team, and Georgia's in business. And now the question is going to be whether or not Georgia can do anything with it. Kirby Smart's freaking out. Bryce Young's got this look on his face like he doesn't really understand what just happened. Has Bryce Young thrown a lot of interceptions? Because he genuinely looked confused there for a second. Stetson Bennett has the ball. He's throwing it out. Why? Oh, my goodness. Looks like he was trying to get a man out to the flat or maybe a wide receiver screen, but the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage and almost intercepted. It's going to be 2nd and 10 now for Georgia. Yep, that ball was very much deflected at the line of scrimmage, and the lineman actually almost turned around and picked the ball off. Man, that would have been a great play there. Brett McMurphy reporting Alabama wide receiver Jameson Williams officially out for the rest of the game. Yeah, well, hope his ankle's okay. Georgia on the Alabama 43. Stetson's got the ball. He's dropping back to pass. He's out of time. He just barely gets the ball out of the pocket in time. The receiver is going to go down for about a 3-yard gain. It looked like he could fight there for a second, but he does end up going down. And, yeah. Excuse me a second. I just got a sniffle or something. Oh, geez. It's dry. It's dry here in Michigan, and so your nose dries out. And it gets, inflamed and all that because of sinuses, and you gotta get some good nose spray on you. I will say this, for all the complaining people were doing about the cold weather in Indy, they're dressed like it's warm. Anyway, Georgia on the 40 now. Stetson Bennett rolling to his right. He's being chased down hard, and he's just going to throw the ball out of bounds. I think he was looking for his receiver number 5 there, but the ball was so far out of bounds, it was either a really bad misthrow or he meant to do that, and I'm really hoping he just meant to do that, because otherwise it was really bad. Pete Thamel reporting or saying Christopher Smith had the game's biggest play against Clemson. Could be a fitting coda for 2021 if that changes the game for Georgia. Doesn't look like it's going to. Bryce Young after his interception in the national championship. That's what he looks like. He just didn't really understand what happened. Georgia's going to down the ball at their own 1-yard line. I think that's just what happened. I was just looking at the pictures, so I got to see what just happened. Yep. Georgia downs the punt at, Georgia downed the punt at the Alabama 2-yard line. So Alabama's going to have the ball at the 2. So Bryce Young's going to have to figure out what to do there. Georgia can't capitalize on the interception in Alabama territory. Will punt the ball back after being forced 3 and out. Yeah, well. Pete Thamel saying, Alabama is struggling to move the ball and lacks weapons. Great decision by Kirby Smart in Alabama is 1st and 97. Brock Bowers covers punts, which is awesome. Yeah, so Alabama's got the ball at their own 3-yard line now. Just some great special teams coverage by Georgia there. And with 11 minutes and 18 seconds left in the third quarter, I mean, there's plenty of time left for a touchdown, but at this point, I'm just like, honestly, next field goal wins. No, it's 9-6. So if Georgia gets it, it ties, but whatever. Scott Frost is trending. Why is Scott Frost trending? Let's just see here. Nebraska coach Scott Frost has announced Bill Bush's promotion from defensive analyst to special teams coordinator. Oh, well, good for him. Is that it? Scott Frost, 13 hours ago, Scott Frost tested positive for COVID. He's supposed to quarantine for 5 days, but due to his poor clock management skills, will probably be out and about in 3 days. Savage. Getting comfortable here. Sorry. Don't mind my knee. Nebraska coach Scott Frost also announced the Bush promotion that Mike Dawson... with the Bush promotion that Mike Dawson will again coach the D-line. Dawson adds interior linemen to his work with the edge rushers. That completes the defensive staff. Running backs coach is left to fill. How about that? Kirby Smart coached with Nick Saban at Alabama? Huh. How about that? I feel like every coach in the SEC has at one point coached with Nick Saban. Mark D'Antonio coached with Nick Saban. I can't remember. I think MSU, right? I think. Mel Tucker was a Nick Saban guy at one point, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I don't know a ton about Mel Tucker. I think he was a Nick Saban guy. I can't remember. But I'm at the point now where it's like, if anyone's a Nick Saban guy, it's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, Alabama on their own 2-yard line. They're putting them back on the 2. Bryce Young standing in his own end zone. He sends a man in motion, and they're going to hand it off. He's going to run up the middle, but he's lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. He was stopped in the end zone there for a second. Brian Robinson Jr. for 1 yard to the Alabama 3. He was stopped in the end zone for a second. He's very lucky he got another 3 yards, or that would have been 2 points for Georgia plus the ball. And then Georgia would have gotten a field goal on that possession, and the game would have ended 11-9. Hardy, har. All right, buffer. He's gonna bust it. He breaks through the line. He's bringing some guys with him down the field. Big run right there. Wow, big run. Brian Robinson Jr. run for 16 yards to the Alabama 19 for a first down. Solid run right there. Ouch. I think I cut my thumb on something. So 1st and 10, Alabama's got the ball at their own 19. Man in motion behind the line of scrimmage. Goes left, goes right. Bryce Young's going to hand the ball off again. Huge hole. And he's going to get about 9 yards on the carry. Robinson Jr. once again. Now Alabama's starting to establish something with the run game. And you got to believe if that's the case, then is something about to happen here. Will Alabama finally make the breakthrough? Running back smiling while looking over at the sideline for the play. Now it's Alabama on the 29-yard line. It looks like they're going to do a screen pass out to the left. He's going to get about 3 yards and a first down. You're talking about former Alabama running backs right now. Brian Robinson Jr. was sitting behind some of the best running backs Alabama's ever had and stayed. They're going to do another wide receiver screen out to the right. Now I'm just kind of wondering what was wrong with running the ball, guys, because that was cool. That was working. But whatever. Brian Robinson Jr. had 26 rushes for a little over 200 yards against Cincinnati. Obviously a solid game for him. It's going to be 2nd and 8, 32 it looks like. Bryce Young is alone in the backfield. He's got the ball. He's going to throw right very quickly. His wide receiver screen. Get about 6-7 yards out of that one. That'll make it about 3rd and 2 or 3. Jamison Williams is coming back out to the bench without pads on. Big loss for Alabama, but it'll be exciting to see him back on the sideline. At least he's okay. Bryce Young with a man to his right. They're talking about where they're going to block, basically pointing out the play for Georgia. Bryce Young's got the ball. He's dropping back to pass. He's going to find the guy he was talking to for a 2-yard gain. He's going to turn that into about a 4-yard gain because he fell forward and got the first down. That's why you work out your arms and torso or something. You eat your green vegetables, kids. You grow big and tall, and then when you fall forward, you'll get the first down. That's how that works. I'm tired. If you're able to get Bell's Christmas Ale ever, it's seasonal, but it is delicious. Alabama going to throw the ball to the left. Again, just another yard on a wide receiver flat throw. So I'm really not understanding what's going on with these throws out to the left, out to the right. I mean, it's worked a handful of times, and I get it, but they're not working for the most part. But at one point, Alabama had a good play call there going with the running the ball. They got the halfback on a short pass. He's going to muscle his way forward for about maybe 7 yards. It should be about 3rd down and 1 now. But I mean, Alabama had a good thing going running the ball there. And I understand you want to use that to open up the pass, but why aren't they opening up the pass in a way that was working for them? They were getting balls over the middle and stuff like that. Somebody's helmet came off and a lineman did. So Robinson was able to get or take on the defender for an extra couple of yards. He's going to make it about 3rd and 2 right now. We got 6:15 left in the game and counting. Alabama on the move. They're at their own 48-yard line. Man in motion, heading right. He gets set. Bryce Young's got the ball. He's dropping back to pass. Going to dump it off to the right. He's got a man open. He gets about 15 yards on the play there. That'll give him a first down in Georgia territory. Great pitch and catch there from Bryce Young to the receiver. I don't know who the receiver was. Number 4, he's just going to bop out to the right here, and he's going to be wide open. Georgia was not ready for that. And it may actually be because the defender was sitting in the flat, ready for anyone who was going to go out wide. All right, running play here on 1st and 10. They're going to get about 6 yards on this one. Man, he muscled his way through the defensive line and dragged a player or two with him for a couple of yards. Great effort by Robinson Jr. there. He's having a really good game, even if the offense has struggled a little bit. It's funny, yards-wise, I mean, I think Robinson's put up some decent yards this game. Bryce Young's obviously put up some solid passing yards and all that, and yet they still only have 9 points. We got an injured Bulldog here. I can't tell who it is, number 88. Not entirely sure what happened. See if they go to commercial break here. Yep, when we come back, it'll be 2nd and 4. And Yeah, let's just see what's going on Twitter then. See if anybody's talking. Ryan Day is now trending on Twitter. Man, if he gets hired in as the Bears head coach, I'm going to laugh. Ryan Day is such a great coach. Why isn't his name mentioned for any of NFL jobs? Because I think no one from Ohio State wants him to leave, and if he does leave, that'd be a problem. Blue Bro Caleb on Twitter says Jim Harbaugh to Miami, Brian Flores to Minnesota, Ryan Day to Chicago, Dabo Swinney to Jacksonville, Nick Saban to retirement, and then Jim Harbaugh to Ann Arbor. Oh, no, I'm sorry. John Harbaugh to Miami. No, John Harbaugh's doing well at Baltimore, isn't he? Did they make the playoffs this year? I feel like they did. They've been successful, I think, under John Harbaugh. At least they were the last time they played Jim in the Super Bowl. But yeah, Nick Saban should retire. Dabo Swinney would be a good fit at, well, maybe. I guess that's kind of the question then, isn't it? I mean, what makes a good professional coach? And why is it that a lot of college coaches can't make the leap into the NFL? Why is that? I really don't know. I actually thought Urban Meyer probably would have had a shot at being a solid college coach or an NFL coach, but it just didn't work out. And I think it was a lot because he had a lot of off the field issues. I'm turning down the game so I can hear myself think. Field issues. I think that's just how that goes. It would be interesting to see how Dabo Swinney would do in Jacksonville and then Ryan Day in Chicago. But Ryan Day, I don't think, has enough college experience. Because, I mean, at this point, Ohio State just lost to Michigan for the first time since 2011. Urban Meyer didn't lose to Michigan. Ryan Day did, though. So now Ryan Day is responsible for being the first Ohio State coach since Luke Fickell to lose to Michigan. And so now I understand they just won the Rose Bowl, but they lost 2 regular season games. Like Ohio State didn't necessarily have the elite season that they were hoping for. And so the idea then is that they need to bounce back in 2022. And if they don't, that probably means Ryan Day isn't actually all he's cracked up to be. Alabama's going to run the ball on 2nd and 4 here and get about 3 yards. It should set up 3rd and 1. But that being said, I don't think that Ryan Day should go to the NFL yet. I don't think that he's got enough experience. I don't think he would be a good fit at Chicago right now. Going to a coaching clinic next month where Ryan Day is speaking. Very tempted to walk in line wearing all Michigan gear. Yeah, well, you should. That'd be really funny, Mike, on Twitter. 3rd and 1, Alabama's got the ball, sending a man in motion. They're just going to hand it off, and yeah, they'll get the one. They'll get another one after that, so it'll be 1st and 10 after a 2 or 3 yard gain on that. Alabama starting to break through that Georgia defensive line a little bit better. Still not great, but they're getting a little bit more footing, and you can just kind of feel like maybe Georgia's defensive line is starting to get tired here. Bryce Young's got the ball. He's going to hand it off to his right. And just as I say that, Georgia gets a stop for loss. That is a 1 yard loss. Excuse my knee. 1 yard loss on the play. Yeah, that's a very good beer. I'm sad that I let it sit for so long because it got a little warm, and that's kind of gross, but it's still good. 2nd and 11, Alabama's got the ball at the Georgia 30-yard line. Bryce Young's by himself in the backfield. He's got 4 receivers, 2 to his right, 2 to his left. He's got the ball. He's dropping back to pass. The pocket broke, but he got the ball off. The ball's thrown deep downfield. It is incomplete, though. Georgia once again got pressure on the quarterback and forced a 3rd and 11. We'll see if they can do anything with it. Will this be the breakthrough for Alabama? Will they be able to convert on 3rd and 11? But Bryce Young took a solid hit there, and he's been taking hits all night. Georgia's been able to get through Alabama's defensive or offensive line pretty much all night, and vice versa, honestly. So it's really interesting. I think this game might eventually come down to which quarterback can stay standing, honestly. And I don't mean, they'll get hit. I just mean, like, physically, can their legs even hold them up at some point? Young's drop back to pass. Dogs bring the heat. Oh my goodness. Ball was thrown just to the right downfield. It's incomplete. That would have been a huge completion if he could have hung onto the ball. He had it for a second, but Georgia came up with the big stop there. It's 4th and 11. And my goodness, another field goal attempt on the way for Alabama to make it 12-6. 12-6. Adam Rittenberg on Twitter saying, quote, Ohio State is expected to hire UCLA offensive line coach Justin Fry for the same position. Deal should be finalized later today. Alabama went for the field goal, and it is blocked. It's blocked. Georgia's got it. Man, huge stop for Georgia there. That is a huge win for that Dogs defense. Goodness. It's great here. He got his hand up there and got the stop. That was great heads up play there. Buffering again a little bit. Hopefully the stream isn't too choppy. Now we'll head to commercial again. And let's see what's going on the Twitterverse. So Adam Schefter reporting that the Bears fired Matt Nagy this morning. Penn State FB Thoughts on Twitter says that this means that Ryan Day to Chicago is a go. Adam Jans says, well, anyway, I fully expect Jim Harbaugh, Brian DeBole, Leslie Frazier, and some others to be interviewed by the Bears during their coaching search. I don't know who the others are, but I don't think that'll happen. It's not going to happen with Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's not going to go. Ryan Day really dropped the ball this year. If our defense is right, we win the national championship. Well, I don't know that anyone could possibly have had a defense as good as the two that are playing tonight. They're on just a whole nother level. Carl Reed says, with the Matt Nagy firing, expect for the Chicago Bears to attempt to lure Ohio State's Ryan Day or Michigan's Jim Harbaugh back into the NFL. Well, if the reports are true of Jim Harbaugh signing that contract extension with Michigan, it leaves Ryan Day at this point, and Ryan Day's got an interesting dilemma ahead of him. Does he stay at Ohio State where he could potentially continue to lose despite good recruiting classes, or is he going to be able to turn it around? And I understand this is kind of ridiculous anyway, because it was a 10-2 season. That's a great season. Okay. That's a good season. Excuse me. That is a good season. So staying at Ohio State, honestly, this shouldn't even be a question, but because of where Ohio State has traditionally been, does Ryan Day want to stay and deal with potentially being the coach that takes them down to the 11-1, 10-2 seasons with potentially more losses to Michigan on the horizon? Because Jim Harbaugh's figured something out and he's signing some pretty solid recruits now. So that's the question. Does Ryan Day want to be a part of that? Does Ryan Day want to stick around for all of that? Or does Ryan Day, want to take his one Big Ten championship and his playoff win and call it good and then head to the NFL and see what he can do? Because no doubt the NFL is a huge stage and it would be pretty solid for his career if he did well in the NFL. He's young, so he has every opportunity to come back to college if he wanted to. Might not be at Ohio State, so it kind of depends on how he feels about the Buckeyes. But, it would be good for him. I just don't think he has the experience. Georgia's got the ball at their own 20. They're going to run it, and this is a huge run. Georgia's running back has space. He's down at the 40. The 30. Is Alabama going to catch him? He's at the 20. The Alabama 15 finally dragged out of bounds at the Alabama 12-yard line. That had to have been 60, 70 yards. I couldn't keep up. Man, the kid was running so fast. There was a huge hole in that Alabama defensive line. And finally, Georgia's starting to find something with the run game. Although it was just a one play. Maybe they can't sustain the success. I don't know. But, man, that was a huge, huge play. Georgia running backs got some wheels on him, running for Ollie's Worth down the sideline, missing players left and right, carrying the ball in his right arm. Quick to the line. Georgia sets up, trips left, one lone receiver out to Stetson Bennett's right. The fullback goes into motion. Stetson Bennett, design quarterback run. He's got the ball. He's going to get about 4 yards. For just a second, it looked like maybe the Red Seas had parted and he could have walked it in, but no, the Alabama defense crashes in like the the Crimson Tide that they are, forgot their name, and brought him down for only a 4-yard gain. 2:13 left in the quarter, and man, a touchdown here completely changes the landscape of this game. Can Georgia do it? They haven't been able to yet, but is now the time. They can get a first down at the Alabama 3-yard line, get a fresh set of downs. So it's Georgia 2nd and 6 at the 9. They hand it off right up the middle. He's got room. The Alabama grabbed his face mask. That's going to be a flag on Alabama face mask. Going to be half the goal to the distance, or half the distance to the goal. Jeez. Alabama. Georgia's running back ran down to about the 3-yard line, got the first down, and they grabbed his face mask on the way down. Personal foul, face mask on the defense. Number 14, I think you said. This is huge. 9-6, 144 left in the third, and Georgia's got the ball on, I think, the Alabama 1-yard line. About 3 different flags flew out there. Georgia taking their time to call a decent play here. They don't want to screw up now. Now that they have this kind of an opportunity, they're going to run the ball right up the middle. He's in. He is into the end zone, muscles his way in for the touchdown. Georgia gets the first touchdown of the game, and the landscape has completely changed now. It is going to be 12-9, 13 with an extra point, depending on if they do that or go for a 2-point conversion. And with the first touchdown of the game, what can Alabama do? Will Alabama then find a breakthrough of their own? Or is this where Georgia maybe starts to take over and assert some dominance? Georgia has surely broken the hearts of their fan base before. They're going to go for the point after touchdown, and it is good. It is 13-9, a 4-point game with 1:20 left in the third quarter. Plenty of time for the Crimson Tide to do something. What will they do? Stetson Bennett almost lost the snap. Stetson Bennett almost lost the snap. He's able to hand it off just in time. You're watching all of the carnage happen up front. A whole bunch of guys are just nailing each other and then falling all over each other and stuff like that. Just a huge scrum there, but man, a giant play by Georgia there to get that touchdown, first touchdown of the game. And now all of a sudden, Georgia's in the driver's seat, and they look focused. They look ready. And I'll bet you that Twitter is lit up over that. So let's just see what's going on. First touchdown of the game, Zamir White puts Georgia up 13-9. Georgia's going to kick the ball off. Alabama's going to let it go through the end zone. Reddit CFB, alarm, alarm, alarm. A touchdown has broken out in the national championship. Man. So Alabama's had this kind of thing happen before where they were down. What were they down? Were they down 10-0 against Auburn with 7 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter? 10-0. And they came back in the fourth quarter to win that game. And it was a close game like this. Now, they haven't played anybody nearly as tough as Georgia is, so it'll be curious to see what they can do here. They're going to throw it on first down. He's going to get about 6 yards on that play. Should be about 2nd down and 4 now. Bryce Young looks a little tired, but he looks focused as well. We'll see what he can do here. Alabama's not moving very quickly to the line. Clock is running under a minute now in the third quarter. 13-9. They've got the ball at the 31-yard line. Bryce Young is surveying the defense. He's talking to his guys on the wide out. Puts his running back over to his right. He's got the ball. He's going to hand it off, and there he's only going to get about a yard. 1 yard on that play. And Alabama, I actually, just from that play and the play before, they don't look like they're going to put up much of an effort now. Now, I shouldn't say that. I'm not saying that they're just going to give up at this point, but those have been two decently low effort games, and that's or low effort plays, and that's just going to give Georgia time or confidence. 3rd and 3. Trips left. Bryce Young's got a man to his left. He's dropping back. He just barely gets the ball out, and he's got his man about 10 yards down the field. That's going to be a first down. Clock will stop as they get the ball set. Now it's going to run. We've got an injured Bulldog as well. He's holding his knee. This should be the end of the third quarter. Depends on whether or not they're going to put 3 seconds back on the clock. But Bryce Young got hit again. We've got 1 quarter left. They're not going to put any time back on the clock. So we've got 1 quarter left in a 2022 national championship. And Georgia leads. And it's their first lead of the game, I believe. And they must believe. They must believe that they can do this at this point. You would be amazed what belief can do. There's a certain team in Ann Arbor that can tell you what belief can do. Maybe they just didn't believe they could beat Georgia. I don't know. End of third quarter, Georgia 13, Alabama 9. Attendance, 68,311. It's Bush League. James Cook's, this is from the Athletics CFB. James Cook's 67-yard run was the longest allowed by Alabama since Nick Chubb's 83-yard run in 2015. Nick Chubb. Oh, he played for Georgia too. How about that? 7 out of Brett McMurphy says 7 of 38 bowl games this season sold out. Just 7. So the games were relatively decent, but why aren't people going? So this is kind of interesting. Bowl between Florida and Central Florida sold out, as did the Music City Bowl, which was Tennessee and Purdue, Birmingham Bowl with Auburn and Houston, Orange Bowl, Georgia, Michigan, Cotton Bowl, Bama, Cincinnati, Rose Bowl, Ohio State, Utah, and the title game, Alabama and Georgia. But the rest of the bowls did not sell out. Do bowl games like that usually sell out? I'd be interested to know, because like I could assume like the Quick Lane Bowl between Western Michigan and Nevada, I don't know that a lot of Nevada fans are going to make it out to Detroit. So maybe that's why they're not selling out. I don't know. I mean, obviously Western Michigan can just drive the 3 hours from Kalamazoo over to Detroit, but whatever. In 41 years of waiting comes down to 1 quarter for the Dogs. It's been 41 years since Georgia's last national championship. Can they pull this off? If they can, it'll be huge. If they can't, it'll be the most Georgia thing ever. Because Georgia has been known to break hearts. But we got 1 quarter left. 2.5 hours into the stream. I'm feeling good. I'm really tired. This is why we need a panel of people watching the game and discussing, because it would probably be a little bit more engaging than I am. I shouldn't say that about myself. I should have more confidence. I'm having fun. I hope if you're watching this, if you're watching the replay, I hope you're having fun too. We're showing shots outside of Lucas Oil Stadium. It looks cold. All right, here we go. Game's back on. Alabama on the 42-yard line. 1st and 10. Bryce Young back to pass. 3-step drop. He's going to throw the ball. They're going to get about 7 yards out of this. Alabama now on their own 49-yard line. Will they capitalize here? That good gain on 1st down there. Bryce Young's going to hand the ball off. He's got the running back. Running back's got about 3 yards out of that. It looked like he could have gone for a little longer, but not quite. Georgia defense just was fast there. We got a flag on Georgia. Illegal hands to the face. It'll be 1st down. I can't tell if that was 5 yards or 15 yards on the end of that play. I think it was just 5. $33 on Georgia was playing some boxing with 75 of Alabama, or 79 rather. 79, it looked like, I think his name is Owens or something like that. It looked like he could have taken him past the sideline back out to the parking lot without a helmet, and that Georgia player wouldn't have had much to do about it. Man in motion for Alabama. Bryce Young's got the ball. He drops back to pass. He's antsy. He gets the ball out. It's caught at the 6-yard line by Alabama. Wow, that is Alabama's answering, and it's these big plays. It's going over the top. It's like I said, I should coach football, man. I tell you what, this makes me want to get NCAA 14 back out. That was a huge play by Alabama there. Quick to the line. They're on the Georgia 5, I guess they put them at. Bryce Young back to pass. He's tossing over the middle. It is knocked incomplete. Great coverage by the Georgia defender there. Very, very close one. It's going to be 2nd down and goal from the 5-yard line. At this point, I would almost think that Alabama should maybe go towards running the ball here just because they were having some success with that. I think a 1st down run probably would have been the better option there. But, they're paying Nick Saban the big bucks for something. Alabama lines up in a formation that looks a lot like they're about to run. Maybe that's the trick here. Their play clock's winding down to under 5 seconds. They don't have an idea what they're running. They get the ball off quickly. They are going to run it this time. They're only going to almost got 3 yards out of that. It looks like definitely at least 2. They might have gotten 3 out of that, but now it's going to be 3rd and goal. Now, field goal, I mean, I would personally think that you'd want the lead throw another touchdown or something like that. But a field goal makes it a 1-point game. Who knows? 3rd and goal, Alabama's on the, where are we? The Georgia 3. Bryce Young's got a man to his left. They take a man in motion from left to right, slot receiver. They've got 3 on the right. Bryce Young takes, pocket breaks down. He's got a man open in the end zone. He missed him. And Bryce Young took a hit for it. Man, Georgia's defensive line is really, really coming after Bryce Young right now. I imagine that young man is going to be covered in bruises tomorrow. Pressure from Georgia is just crazy. Now, they are going to go ahead and go for the field goal. I thought maybe they would go for it for a second there. They are going to go for the field goal. They get it off. It is good. It is 13-12 with 12 minutes, 59 seconds remaining in this game. And if Alabama ends up coming back and winning this game 15-13, that's hilarious to me. Georgia scored the game's only touchdown and still lost. That would be hilarious. Quick check of the Twitter to see what's going on out there. Bama field goal part 4. Georgia 13, Alabama 12. 12:59 remaining. That's from Brett McMurphy. Excuse me. Field goal is good. And yeah, at this point, if Alabama wins, their kicker absolutely is the MVP. I was joking kind of earlier, but now it's like, yeah, they absolutely are the MVP at this point. The kicker is. 3 red zone field goals for Alabama. Some NFL coaches are about to faint. That's from Dan Wetzel. Yeah. I'll post something on Twitter. What should I say? Let's see. Still live streaming. Yeah. If Alabama, wait, Georgia may have scored this game's only touchdown and might still lose. So that's the state of SEC football. Making sure that the stream is still running. We were buffering there for a little bit. So that's the state of SEC football. So that's how we end 2021. A little bit more. Don't know. We'll see. All right. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is on playoff expansion. Pete Thamel reporting Bob Bowlesby, who I think is the Big 12 commissioner, said on the playoff not expanding, quote, "We didn't even get close, and we have a lot of work to do, and I am disappointed we have entrenched issues." Anthony Broom, if the buffering there just interrupted what I was saying, I said Anthony Broom commented on it and said disastrous leadership in this sport across the board. And honestly, I'd have to agree. And I'm not even totally sold that the playoffs should be expanded. I'm just saying that if they can't even make up their minds, they can't even have a conversation with each other, then what's the point? Mood. Show the picture. This is Georgia's mascot right now. That poor pupper. He's so sad. Oh, poor guy. Somebody just take him home and cuddle him. Oh my goodness. I need a dog. A Ray Guy Award semifinalist and 2-time all Big Ten selection is returning to Michigan for his final season of eligibility. That is awesome. Reddit CFB, preparing to watch the final college football game of the next 229 days kickoff. That's the picture, is the guy doing this. So Georgia's got the ball, 1st and 10 at their own 25. They're going to hand it off. There's a huge hole, but not much from it. They're going to get about 5 yards out of that. That hole looked like they could have potentially have gotten 10 or 15, but Alabama's defense was quick to respond. It'll be 2nd 5 clock running. We are now down under 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Clock continues to run. Georgia making some substitutions. Stetson Bennett's going to take. He's got the ball. He hands it off. They're going to reverse it. It's a fake. Alabama's all over it, though. That wide receiver who got the fake had to make a couple of cuts just to get back to about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Otherwise, that could have been a serious loss there for Georgia. Alabama defense coming back, showing up. It's going to be 3rd and 8 now. It was 2nd and 5. Man, he's fast. That Alabama defense is fast. Both defenses are just really, really fast. 13-12. We're under 12 minutes to play. Georgia's got the ball, 3rd and 8 on their own 25, 26, 27-yard line. I got to count. Sorry. Bennett's got a guy to his right. He's going to take. The pocket immediately breaks down. He's running for his life, and he's going to get hit. He let go of the ball. The ball came out wobbly, going all over the place there. It doesn't look like it was fumbled. Either way, the ball went out of bounds. The coaches or the coaches. The refs are talking about it, seeing whether or not it's going to be intentional grounding. If it's a fumble, that's actually going to save Bennett's life here. They're calling it a fumble. It didn't go out of bounds. They're calling it a fumble recovered by the defense. That's going to be Alabama ball. So right now, the call on the field, they're showing the replay. His arm was coming up, and the ball came out in the direction that his arm was going, but it looked like he lost his grip on it, so it looked like the ball just kind of flipped out of his hands. And then the ball... So they're changing up the call now. So they're now going to call it... They reviewed the video and said that it was a forward pass after all, but they're changing the call to include a penalty for intentional grounding. Either way, they at one point called it a fumble recovered by the defense, but when it was recovered by the defense, the player who recovered it had his foot out of bounds when he caught the ball. Now, was his arm actually moving forward? His arm was moving forward. The ball flies in the direction that his arm was moving forward, but it doesn't look like he's actually grasping the ball when the ball moves forward out of his hands. So they're asking a rules analyst right now whether or not he agrees with the call. He agrees that it was a forward pass. What he disagrees with is intentional grounding, because it was the hit that caused the errant pass and for it to fall short of the first down or the line of scrimmage. So at this point, it wouldn't be a intentional grounding call if that's how they call it. They're reviewing it for it's under further review. Oh my goodness, they're looking at... So they are trying to determine now... They've gone back. They have gone back, and they are looking to determine now whether the ball was actually fumbled, and if it was recovered by the defense, and the video angle they're using now shows that the defender was actually in bounds when he recovered the ball. So they've gone back and forth here. Was it intentional grounding? Was it a fumble? Was his arm moving forward? Was it not? What caused the intentional grounding, or if it even was intentional grounding? But right now, if they do call it a fumble, which I don't understand why they would be reviewing this otherwise if it weren't, the Alabama defender does have his foot in bounds. It would be Alabama ball deep in Georgia territory. So we're just waiting on the review here. The ref is taking his sweet time looking at his little AT&T television. I can't really figure out how he can see much on that, but I guess if you're the only one watching it, then fine. Oh, yeah, we got some cold-looking Alabama and Georgia fans in the stands there inside that nice heated building. Everybody's just kind of waiting, just kind of chilling, seeing what's going on here. They're still reviewing the play. Now, right here, you can see the ball like falls out of his hands. Like he does not have a grip on the ball when his arm goes forward. Oh my goodness, they just said the ruling on the field stands. And I have to go back and say the ruling on the field was that it was a fumble recovered by the defense, and that stands. It is now Alabama ball deep in Georgia territory. For all the world, it sounded like they had changed the call on the field to be a intentional grounding call, but they are calling it a fumble. And I'm just glad I'm not that ref, because I don't know how I could have possibly made that call. But it is now Alabama football on the Georgia 16-yard line. So just a devastating series of events for Georgia. But now Bryce Young is going to send a man in motion. He's got a guy to his right. He's going to hand it off. There is a hole. He's got about 4 yards on the play. They're going to get down to about the Georgia 12, it looks like. Robinson Jr. with another carry. And now Georgia fans are throwing things on the field. Now, I don't blame them for being upset. They shouldn't be throwing stuff on the field. But still. All right, Bryce Young's got the ball. He's dropping back to pass. Pocket holds. He's got a man. It is incomplete. He had a man open in the end zone. He caught the ball, but he was out of bounds when he caught it. Just barely. 3rd and 6 now. But here's the thing. Alabama could get a field goal and take the lead. There is a flag on the play. And they're going to call roughing the passer on Devontae Wyatt of Georgia. So they're going to send him halfway the distance of the goal line. And Devontae Wyatt basically, I would think inadvertently, but followed through, basically punching Bryce Young in the face, trying to go after him. Tough call, but I guess according to the rules, it's probably textbook. So now Alabama 1st and goal on the Georgia 6. They're going to hand it off. There's a hole. There is a hole. He's got about 3 yards, though. He was taken down. If he shakes that tackle, he's in for a touchdown. Clock's going to run. It is 10:50 left in the game. And we actually got a pretty exciting game now. This is getting intense. Kind of curious who's going to win this game. Is Georgia going to break hearts again, or is Alabama gonna take over this game, or can Georgia do it? Can Georgia stop Alabama here? They've got to get the stop. They cannot allow a touchdown. Alabama man in motion. Bryce Young's got the ball. He's going to throw it to his left, and it was knocked to the line of scrimmage. It's incomplete. 3rd and goal at the Georgia 3, I think I said. Man. So Georgia's defensive line continues to just be monstrous, just phenomenal. A great display of football by the Georgia defensive line here. I mean, just wow. 3rd and goal at the Georgia 3. Bryce Young's got a man to his right. He sends the wide receiver right to motion in as a tight end. He drops back to pass. He's immediately rolling to his right. He got a man open in the end zone. It's caught. It is caught for a touchdown. Alabama has finally made the breakthrough. And now the landscape changes yet again. Yet again, this game changes. 3-yard touchdown pass by Cameron Latu, I think is his name. Man, Georgia's defensive line was 5 steps away, maybe 2 or 3 steps away from getting a sack. I mean, they just blew right through Alabama's offensive line. Latu was just standing there in the end zone waiting for the ball. He was open. It was not a long window, not a big window to throw that ball. But they got it to him. And now Alabama's going to go for a 2-point attempt. They're up 18-13 right now. A 2-point attempt would put them at 20, so it would make it a 7-point game. And Georgia would need a touchdown, an extra point just to tie it. It makes sense. It's a good call. 4 receivers out to his left, 1 to his right. Bryce Young drops back to pass, has to roll right. He's got some room. Can he get there? He can't. Georgia gets him from behind the line, and it is going to stay 18-13. He's fast, but he's not that fast, apparently. Not taking away anything from him, but he's got to outrun 4 guys, 4 of Georgia's defenders. And man, but it was a great throw that got him in the touchdown in the first place. I think there were at least 3 or 4 guys headed, 3 or 4 Georgia defenders headed for him. So kind of crazy that he was able to make it as far as he did, but not fast enough. So Alabama once again, or makes the breakthrough this time. Curious to know how this game is going to end because goodness gracious, back and forth, field goals, and finally touchdowns, and geez. Big Ten Champs Barstool Blue on Twitter says, nobody told me Iowa had affiliate branches in Tuscaloosa and Athens. Yeah, those defenses, though, I tell you what. Mike Doss will be inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame. Halftime, Alabama. Oh, this is halftime. I don't want halftime. Okay. Bigger 10, I believe that is another Steve Deace's. It is, yeah. It's from Steve Deace Does Michigan podcast. He's also got Bigger 10 saying, quote, so far this is pretty boring. I was hoping for more from this final college football game we're going to get for the next 229 days. He said that 48 minutes ago, though, so he might be changing his tune now. It's getting, I'm just quoting, it's getting better now, but certainly the offensive firepower is lacking. And I don't mean, it's not like I'm saying that both teams have bad offenses. It's just that's a testament to how good these defenses are. And it's not even to say that these offenses aren't as good as Big Ten offenses. I think this year particularly it was because Big Ten defenses were just pretty bad. I mean, they were good for when they were playing in the Big Ten. Well, I should say Iowa. I don't know. Iowa lost to Kentucky, allowed a few points against Kentucky. I don't know. But yeah, it's up until the bowl games, I think Big Ten defenses were actually pretty decent. But then they got into the bowl games, and I mean, Ohio State had a dreadful defense all season long. There's no, a lot of people are saying, like, with the Orange Bowl, Michigan versus Georgia, Ohio State should have gone. They would have at least made this game competitive. No, I don't know that it would have been worse, but no. Maybe they would have scored one more touchdown. Maybe one more field goal. I don't know, because obviously, CJ Stroud is a very good quarterback, but everyone on that Georgia defense was just playing next level. So I don't know. 10 minutes left in the game. Seeing a whole bunch of posts from an hour ago when no touchdown had been scored yet. Mr. Ohio says Alabama is elite, but it's crazy how lucky they get. Lose their top 2 wide receiver when you're playing the worst offense to make it to the national championship game since the 1800s. Why couldn't know that team? They're not bad. Pretty solid on defense. Unless, of course, you actually think Georgia's offense is bad. In which case, I don't know. I just don't know. Stetson Bennett's got the ball. He's trying back to pass. Big throw over to his left out past the 40-yard line. That should put Georgia at about their own 43 or so. Brian Hall on Twitter says Nick Saban wins another natty tonight, and then he would leave for Miami to coach Tua again in the league. Maybe. Josh Pate from the Late Kick says firings like Brian Flores doesn't happen without a replacement already written in pencil, friends. Buckle up. Well, who knows? Who knows? Stetson Bennett rolling to his right. He's throwing deep downfield. Does he have a man? He doesn't, but there are flags flying in from everywhere. Goodness gracious, there were flags flying in like a swarm of bees. Pass interference on Alabama. Yeah, gee, go figure. With them flags like that, I would have thought that we were at a flag convention. Oh, yeah, he tackles him. He tackles him on his route. And, and actually Kirk Herbstreit is making a really good point right now. that receiver was just about to outrun that defensive back. So tackling him may have actually been the better option and taking the penalty than letting him go, because he was going to go for 6. Bennett back to pass. He's got a man short. It's going to be about 11-yard gain here on second down. It should be about first and 10 now. Depends on the spot here. I think they're giving him the first down. He bobbled the catch. Oh my goodness, he just barely made that catch. He bobbled it about 4 times. The ball was out of his hands at least 4 different occasions. And then he was able to reel it in finally. They will give him the first down. We got 9 minutes left to go in this game. Bennett's going to hand it off. He's going to fake the handoff, but the pocket immediately collapses and he's sacked. He is sacked by, I think that guy's name is Alex Turner, if I heard correctly. And he got in just about as fast as the ball was snapped. Stetson Bennett went to turn around to hand the ball off to the running back, and about 2 seconds later, he was being driven to the ground. Crazy, crazy speed right there from Alabama's defense. Goodness gracious. So now it's 2nd and 18, and here's what Kirby Smart was saying at halftime. Getting back behind the sticks like this, 18 yards on second down is just crazy. Alabama's going to come after this one. They will. The pocket collapses, but Stetson Bennett's looking way downfield to the end zone. Is it caught? It is. That's a touchdown for Georgia. That was a 50-yard pass. Oh my goodness. Stetson Bennett looking deep, and he didn't have very, very long to look for him at all. There's an offsides call going against Alabama that is going to be declined. The touchdown will stand. It'll be an official 40-yard touchdown pass by Georgia. And I'm realizing now that the computer may be showing on my game tracker here that they have scored before I reacted to it. So if that's the case, you pay for the reactions here. Goodness gracious. You may have even been able to call some holding there on Alabama of the receiver there. But man, just a great, great catch. Way to come back for that catch. And all of a sudden, the offenses are finding something. So now Georgia's going to try and go for 2 themselves. It is 19-18 right now. This would push it to a field goal game. They're going to run it left. He's got that ball handed off, but he's going to be caught behind the line of scrimmage and tackled. So again, another failed 2-point conversion here. One-point game. 1-point game. One-point game. That is the 3rd touchdown scored of the game. And finally, things starting to heat up, including my allergies. People are trying to act like this game doesn't rock. It's getting to be more fireworks and all that, which is you like to see. But again, it's not like I don't appreciate a defensive battle. It's just at some point, it's like, can somebody do something, please? Jeez. Matt Schwartz on Twitter says the next 10 minutes are going to decide whether Stetson Bennett IV becomes a Georgia congressman or lives out his destiny as the most successful State Farm franchiser in the greater Athens area. So what? He's not going pro? Stetson could go pro. Scott Bell, LOL. Remember when everyone was tweeting about how much this game sucked? That was so 2 halves ago, or so 2 quarters ago. It does. Who cares about an SEC championship game rematch? I mean, that doesn't make it not a that doesn't make it not a good game. It might be a game that no one wanted to see, but it doesn't mean that it's not a good game. I mean, yes, doesn't really. I actually, I'll make that point real quick. It doesn't really feel like a national championship game anymore. Honestly, the national championship anymore just feels like Alabama's yearly mid-January exhibition match. You know, it's they've been to the game so many times that at this point it's just like, yeah, this is just Alabama's mid-January game. It's a good game, but no one cares. Exactly. It's a good game, but nobody cares. Yeah, it's good football. We're watching some solid football right now. But no one that's outside of Georgia and Alabama care at all about who wins this game. So that's kind of the interesting thing about it, though, is that like everyone knows about the rivalry between Michigan and Ohio State, I think anyway. And people all over YouTube and the socials were commenting after Michigan beat Ohio State saying, you know, I'm not a fan of either team, but honestly, I'm just so thrilled that Ohio State finally lost or Michigan finally beat them. Excuse me. And I don't think anyone posted on the socials saying, man, wouldn't it just be crazy if Georgia beat Alabama? I mean, maybe they said, oh man, it would be crazy if Georgia beat Alabama, but no one said anything like, oh my goodness, could you believe it? Like it doesn't really feel like it has as much of a, you know, dare I say, cultural impact as Michigan beating Ohio State. Like Michigan beating Ohio State was the ultimate, one of the, not the ultimate, but like a really cool underdog story. I mean, they had a 2% chance of winning the conference in the preseason, Michigan did. And then they defeat Ohio State while Ohio State was starting to run over people, Michigan State. And then they go to the Big Ten championship and win it. That's a big underdog story for a program that has been, you know, good, but not championship caliber just yet. And then they finally do it. This game, it's like, yeah, Georgia and Alabama play each other every year for the SEC and the national championship. And Alabama is going to get hit behind the line about 2 yards on first down here with 8 minutes left to go in the game. But I haven't seen anyone on the social saying like, oh my gosh, Georgia's like the ultimate underdog story this year. Like this is their year. They'll finally beat Alabama. And nobody cares. First off, because I feel like a lot of people feel like Alabama's probably just going to come back and win this game. But also because Georgia's not really an underdog. They just blow it. Michigan may have been an underdog against Ohio State, and they did blow some big games and all that. But when they got it together and beat Ohio State, it felt like a much bigger deal. Bryce Young going long, and he's going to overthrow his receiver. Thought maybe there'd be a flag for some pass interference there, but the refs are going to keep it in their pocket. And yeah, it's a good call. Third and 12. Alabama on their own 22-yard line, 23-yard line. Alabama sending a man in motion. Bryce Young claps again. He's got the ball. He's stepping back to pass. Pocket holds for a second here. He's got the ball over the middle, and it is incomplete. In and out of the hands of his receiver. It is going to be 4th and 12. And so the Georgia defense has showed up. Is Georgia going to do it? Is Georgia going to beat Alabama? Man, it's Georgia's linebacker, Poole the third, I think is his name. Great instinct to know that the Alabama receiver was going to cut back inside and to provide coverage there. Alabama going to punt. They get the punt off, but Georgia came for it. Geez, fair catch signaled at the Georgia 38. And Georgia now starting to get pretty excited, thinking maybe they've got something here. 19-18. If they can put a touchdown on the board here, then Alabama would need a touchdown 2-point conversion. Scott Bell, I'm going to miss college football so much. Thank God I'll be spending the offseason watching the Michigan-Ohio State game on my DVR approximately 750 times or until sparks start coming out of my cable box, whichever comes first. We all will, Scott. We all will. The last coach to lose a game 19. Oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Hold on a second. I got to look something up on Team Rivalry here real quick. So I just saw something on Twitter saying that the last team to lose a game 19-18 was Nick Saban at Michigan State, and they played Minnesota, and Minnesota won 19-18. So let's. Oh goodness gracious! I gotta sit up. Feeling a little numb downstairs. Ouch. Towards the back. All right. Yeah, real quick. Let's just look this up on Team Rivalry. I will stop screen sharing and then share screen. Microsoft Edge tab, Team Rivalry home. All right, let's try the rivalry page. First team, Michigan State. Second team, Minnesota. All right, we probably don't need to look very far back. I wonder when was Nick Saban coach of Michigan State? I can't remember. Look for a 19-18 score. So probably be on this page. 19-18, October 24th, 1998. Wow. Michigan State head coach Nick Saban. Oh, it's not showing the right. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. It's it didn't load on the right page. Oh, weird. It's not loading on the right page. Well, here I can just switch over the screen share and show you. Boom, there it is. 19-18. Minnesota beats Michigan State. Played at Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome in Minneapolis. Capacity 64,000. We don't have attendance notes on that. And head coach Nick Saban. Glenn Mason was Minnesota's head coach. And it looks like up to that point, Nick Saban was 3-0 against Minnesota. So that's interesting. October 24th, 1998, 12 o'clock p.m. How about that? I was 4 years old. Crazy stuff. Anyway, that's pretty sweet, isn't it? That's just some of the stuff that you can do on Team Rivalry. It's pretty cool. All right, let's go back to the game. Let's see what we got here. The game is back on. Georgia's got the ball. It's 2nd and 6. Stetson Bennett's going to hand it off. The running back's got room. He's going to get 5, possibly a first down here. They do move the sticks. That's going to leak some of this clock here, or eat some of the clock, because leak sounds weird now that I've said it. I feel weird now. 19-18. 6 minutes and change left in the game. Slowly moving down to about 6 minutes left. Georgia in no hurry to snap the football. Might want to leave some time on the clock. You never know. You never know. Stetson Bennett's got a man to his right. He sets. He's got the ball. He's going to hand it off. There is a hole. He's going to get about 5 yards on that play. Should be 2nd down and 5 when we come back here in a sec. But again, Georgia not at all in a hurry to set up. Georgia would love a touchdown here just to force Alabama into a position to get a touchdown and 2-point conversion to tie. which is, a tall order for Alabama at this point, but they have been putting in some touchdowns. So it's interesting to see. Georgia's sending in motion. Bennett's got the ball. He's going to hand it off right up the middle. He goes, and he's got 7-yard gain. That's a first down. Big first down. And Georgia's starting to assert themselves on the line of scrimmage. You think perhaps maybe they're starting to actually believe that they can get this done. Can they finish the game? That offensive line really got some good pushes there up front against Alabama's defensive front. Some linebackers were caught out of position and all that too. This is getting interesting now. Which defense is going to break down first? And frankly, both of them have. Another Alabama player injured, or actually another player injured, period. This one is an Alabama player. Mark Rogers on Twitter, I could be a defensive backs coach. At least I would teach my guys not to throw up their hands and look around every time they think they interfered. Is that not how you play DB? Why couldn't Stetson just drop the ball against Michigan? Yeah, well, Rich Eisen, we all wondered that. It sounds like they are about to announce Harbaugh's extension with Michigan. Interesting. Georgia's got the ball. It's 1st and 10. There are 5 minutes left in this game. Stetson's set. He's got the ball. He's going to hand it off. No, he's going to throw. He's going to go throw left, and he's going to way overthrow his receiver. And it looks like there's going to be another pass interference call against Alabama. Yep. Pass interference defense. That's crazy. So that's just going to help Georgia. I mean, obviously. Getting tired here. My eyes are getting red. Oh, geez. And the game is back to buffering. Hopefully we can get this back up and running. I got to of tackled. It's just one thing. Going on 20 minutes to midnight. If you're watching, throw something in the chat. Let me know you're there. Tell me what you think. How are you staying awake? Unless, of course, this game is entertaining to you, which it's starting to get entertaining to me. So, there you go. That first half was a bit of a slog, but I saw the post-game graphic there after I refreshed the page, and I thought the game ended. I was like, oh my goodness, how far behind was I? We got 4 minutes left in this game. Alabama making some silly mistakes late. Only helping Georgia believe. Georgia's going to run right. Looks like he's going to get about 3 yards. That should be enough for a first down, unless they call it 3rd and inches. Only helping Georgia gain confidence. And I'm going to tag national championship. Hashtag UGA. It's 3rd and short, and they've got a first. Oh my goodness, they've got a touchdown. Georgia's going to go ahead and score, but there's a flag on the play. Stetson Bennett is hitting himself in the face, unless it's actually a face mask call on Alabama that he's voicing. Alabama players do look concerned. The ref is pointing in both directions. I can't get a firm grasp on which way this call is going. Personal foul, roughing the panther on the defense. The result of the play is a touchdown. Wow. So Georgia's got the touchdown. And it is now 25-18. And there's a man in the stands flipping off Alabama with both fingers. You do you, dude. You were just seen on national TV doing that. I just hope you know that, if you have kids or something and you say, yeah, I was there the day Georgia beat Alabama in the national championship. That was 50 years ago and it hasn't happened again since. Oh, gee, Dad, was that you in the stands flipping everyone off? Well, yeah, but, Georgia won, so. That's just funny. Hey, he's having a good time and whatever. If I was Georgia, I would go for 2 if you get a touchdown this possession. Well, they got the touchdown. Should they go for 2? Ooh, interesting. Oh my goodness. Actually, so I miscalculated. Georgia's got the 26 right now. Did they just go for the field goal or did I miss that? Is that what happened while the game was buffering on me again? Because now, actually I wouldn't have recommended that. Yeah, so they did go ahead and kick the point and touchdown. So no, I wouldn't have recommended that because at this point Alabama needs a touchdown and 2-point conversion just to tie. If you don't get the 2-point conversion, then all Alabama needs is the touchdown. So who knows, There's 3 minutes, 33 seconds left in this game, and Georgia's got the lead by a score. Alabama needs to score a touchdown and convert a 2-point conversion just to tie it. So Bryce Young has got to come out here and show us why he won the Heisman. And if he doesn't, it doesn't take away from his amazing season. Excuse me. But it certainly does equate to a huge accomplishment for Georgia that they've been able to do this against Alabama. It had to happen at some point. Bryce Young throws over center. He's got a man for about a 4-yard gain. Clock's going to run. They're going to set to the line quickly. I'm going to try and finish my beer quickly, too, because I want to go to bed after this game. No wasted beer. Alabama quickly to the line, 2nd and 5, man in motion from left to right. He goes out wide. They're going to throw the ball. It's a wide receiver screen to the right. He's going to get 2 yards and get smacked. He's going to get hit hard to the ground. And offensively, I got to scratch my head with that play calling again, just going out wide with the wide receiver screens and all that. Georgia's defense has been able to identify those all game long, and they've been moving to the ball quick. Bigger 10, Steve Day says, okay, this is more like it. Yeah, see? Bryce Young takes. He's got the ball, drops back to pass. He's ran over center. He's got a first down and much more. Got about 15 yards on that play. Alabama moving the ball with 2.5 left on the clock, 4th quarter. It's coming down to this. This is the make it or break it. This is the live or die drive for Alabama. Quick to the line again. Alabama's on their own 43-yard line. Bryce Young with a man to his right. Georgia flipping up their design here on defense here. They're going to go ahead and Alabama's going to run the ball. He's going to get nothing. He's going to get back to the line of scrimmage and then driven backwards about 5 yards. 2 minutes left on the clock now. The clock is running. Alabama's got all 3 timeouts. Georgia also has 2 timeouts. If Alabama scores, Georgia might be able to stop the clock and potentially throw a Hail Mary or something like that. But Alabama would have to score first. under 2 minutes left to play. Alabama's still got, well, obviously Alabama's got the ball. It's at the 43-yard line, 2nd and 9. Bryce audibling the play, talking to his players. He's got the ball. He's dropping back to pass, looking over the middle. He's looking to his right. He's rolling right. Pocket breaks down. He's got a man open 10 yards down the field. It's caught. He's down inside in the field of play. It's not out of bounds. The clock will not stop. That's a first down, though. It'll stop long enough for them to be able to set the ball, but then it'll start running, so they've got to be ready to go. But that was a great heads-up play by Bryce Young to get out of the pocket. He's got the ball. He's stepping back to pass. He's throwing far downfield, and it is incomplete. Wow, that was thrown into double coverage. You saw the look on the defender's eyes. He was looking at that ball like this game is over, and couldn't come up with the catch, probably because the Alabama wide receiver had to play a little bit of defense on that play. Bryce Young just staring down his receiver there, too. That safety from Georgia had plenty of warning of where the ball was going to go. Bryce Young now in stance. He's set. He's got a man to his right, 2 wide outs, 1 slot receiver. He's got the ball. He's stepping back to pass. Pocket holds for a second, looking downfield again, and a one-handed catch is almost made. It's incomplete. There was a little bit of hand play there by the receiver and the defender, but no call. And I think no call is the right call. Man, it would have been a great catch had he been able to pull that in with just the one hand. Not quite able to do it, though. He's got to put, I don't understand what, he had every opportunity to put 2 hands on that ball. That would have been a catch. Alabama would have been in business. Instead, it's 3rd and 10 at their own 41-yard line. Bryce Young's got the ball. He steps back to pass, looking over the middle. Another long ball. It's intercepted by Georgia, and he's got a caravan of players with him. He's got plenty of room. He's going to run to his left. He's going to run to his right. He's got space. He's going to go into the end zone. It's a touchdown for Georgia. That's a pick 6, and this game is over. Oh my goodness, this game is over. If this stands, if there are no flags, Georgia fans are in disbelief right now. Frankly, I'm in a little bit of disbelief. Georgia fans are going nuts right now. Alabama fans can't believe it. It is currently, the scoreboard says 32-18. If this stands, then, and it's going to stand, there are no flags. Nothing's coming back. Alabama fans look like they're about in tears. There are fans holding up signs. 22, the year of the dog. Yep. Stetson Bennett looks like he's about to start crying. He is crying. Man, well, you earned it, buddy. You had a heck of a game against Michigan. You've had a rough go of it tonight, but you're going to finally do it. Goodness gracious, this game is over. And that's just crazy. Not sure what the receiver was looking for on that play. He looked way out of position, and Georgia had everybody on that side of the field ready to help the defensive back walk the ball into the end zone for the score. Man, there were coaches literally on the field celebrating the interception as the player was running down the field, catching the ball. Kirby Smart was yelling for him to just fall down. And the guy was Kirby Smart's literally running up and down the field, yelling at him to go down, to just go down. Don't risk fumbling the football. But he wanted to score. And Kirby Smart loves it. Yeah, look at that smile on his face. Kirby Smart loves every bit of that. And you can imagine right now that Athens, Georgia is just going crazy right now. Bryce Young can't believe it. That's got to be a terrible feeling. You know, but this is what makes these games so great, is the potential of heartbreak, but the potential that you could also rise above it. And Georgia has finally risen above some heartbreak. 54 seconds left on the clock. It's 33-18 Georgia, and this game, just like that, man. Stetson Bennett. I don't know a lot about him, admittedly, but I've heard he's got a pretty solid story. He was a walk-on in junior college, and then got a scholarship to Georgia after playing a little bit in junior college. And now look at this. He's winning a national championship for his hometown team, for his state's team. And that's just what you love to see. You love to see kids grow up in state, dream of playing for their dream school, and then taking that school to a national title. I mean, the guy is just feeling all sorts of emotions right now. There's no hiding the amount of tears that are flowing down his face and how happy he is right now. Man, this game actually got good. Man, this game actually got really, really good. This is since he lost that fumble in the fourth quarter, he's been perfect. A perfect 4 for 4 for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. So something about that just lit a fire under him. And man, Alabama's got the ball. It is 1st and 10 on the 25. Bryce Young back to pass. They're going to throw it short, and he's just going to be taken down about 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And Nick Saban looks confused, and I'm frankly confused that Nick Saban's confused, because I thought Nick Saban was calling that just as sort of a, all right, let's wrap things up and go home kind of a play. It's not like Nick Saban is any stranger to losing national title games. I mean, he lost one against Ohio State. I think he lost one against Clemson, or he did lose one against Clemson. They'll be back next year, no doubt. No doubt Alabama will be back in the championship game next year, or at least the playoffs. I don't think that they're getting any younger. They're a young team now when they made the national championship. They're going to be older next year. They're going to be better. They're going to be stronger. They're going to be more emotionally prepared now that they've experienced something like this, and it's going to hurt, and they're going to do everything they can to get back. Second and 12, and he's got a pass complete to his left for first down. There's 43 seconds left in the game. Theoretically, if I were playing on NCAA 14, I'd be doing a Hail Mary every play, and then I would get the touchdown, and then I would do the onside kick, and I'd recover it, and then I'd throw a Hail Mary and get the touchdown and win the game. And the reason I'd be able to do that is because the opponent is on easy. But, whatever. Anyway, pass it to the left for another 10 yards. It's another first down for Alabama. Looks like they might try and do something, put something together here, see if they can get a touchdown just to not, go out whimpering, I guess you could say. Stetson Bennett the fourth. Man, 3 Stetsons before him. At some point, you get so far down the line, it's like you don't want to be the Stetson Bennett that messed up. You know what I mean? Like Stetson Bennett's son now is going to be like, Stetson Bennett 5? But what if I suck? I don't know. All right, 39 seconds left in the game. Bryce Young back to pass. Pressure is there. He's going to throw the ball, but it's going to be short of any receiver. No one was going to have a shot at picking that ball up. And Bryce Young's going to take a hit for it. And Kirby Smart is throwing his arm up and down like this. I think it's because he wants an intentional grounding call. And he might get it, actually. There wasn't a receiver in the area. Georgia fans are going to burn Indianapolis to the ground. That's by Blue by 90. Yeah, well, maybe. And every city in between there and Athens. So Alabama's just used a timeout to avoid the 10-second runoff that comes with a intentional grounding call. And you can see Alabama linemen are just kind of turning around, watching Bryce Young about to get sacked and just being like, whatever. I wonder if they're just done. It is currently, someone just said it's 8 degrees in Indianapolis right now. That means it's even colder here. Bryce Young throwing game-sealing pick six was not a likely scenario. Ringo's 79-yard pick six seals the game for Georgia. Bulldogs can finally erase 1980. What happened in 1980? Yeah, that's from Pete Thamel. Reddit CFB, the 52.5 point over is shockingly alive. Yeah, because look at this. 33 to 18. What's 8 plus 3? Is that 4? So that would be 41-51. Yeah, so there you go. Right? So something like that. Former Ohio State Mike. Oh, this is why is so many people are reporting this? Bryce Young's going to get sacked. It was 2nd and 22, and Bryce Young is going to get sacked. And the question is, will Nick Saban allow that to be their last play of 2022, or will he try again? But man, I'll tell you what. I mean, so I'm just kind of going through Twitter and still seeing people saying that, that first half sucked and, now things are starting to pick up and all that. This game, I don't think anyone really cared about the outcome of this game. It's kind of cool to see Georgia, finally get their national title after however many years and all that, however many times they've been to the national championship or the playoffs and lost to either Alabama or Clemson or something like that. It's kind of fun. It's a cool storyline and all that. But even though nobody really cared about the outcome of this game, it's been a great game. This second half really lit up, and I'm really glad it did. Especially for Stetson Bennett. Bryce Young under pressure, but he's got the pass complete. It's 3rd and 28, and they're going to be about 2 yards short of the first down. Will that be their last play of 2022? They've got no timeouts. There's 12 seconds left on the clock and running. 10 seconds left. 9 seconds. Kirby Smart's yelling and screaming, telling them to get set up. 6 seconds. 5 seconds. 4 seconds. 3 seconds. This is the last play of the game. Bryce Young back to pass, and he's going to get sacked. That's the last play of the 2022 season, was Bryce Young barely getting touched by the defense and getting sacked for his trouble. The game is over. Georgia has won the national championship. And my heart breaks for Bryce Young because that's going to be his last play of 2022. Nick Saban is all smiles right now, too. Nick Saban saying God bless you, and Kirby Smart saying that he appreciates his former boss. Nick Saban saying you kicked our butt in the fourth quarter. That's just, yeah. Bryson Young and Stetson Bennett having a moment there. That was pretty awesome to see them congratulating each other. It's pretty awesome. I mean, the sportsmanship between these two teams is just awesome. It's just a really cool moment to see when players, get together after a game and just say how much they appreciate each other and respect each other. Kirby Smart celebrating with his team right now, and yet reporters are trying to get his attention. Nuts to you, ESPN. Kirby Smart's talking about Ringo getting that pick six. But, man, huge fourth quarter for Georgia. Just absolutely incredible. Couple of touchdowns after not scoring a single touchdown in the entire first half. Stetson Bennett erupts in that fourth quarter after losing the fumble. Just an amazing display. Man, crazy stuff. And Georgia's finally got their national championship. All right. It's been 3 hours, 40 minutes almost. I'm tired. I'd like to just go ahead and watch the rest of this and then go to bed. But thank you very much for tuning in. And I hope everyone enjoyed the 2022 college or 2021 college football season, because it was a pretty solid football season. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great memories, and 229 days until 2022. So stay busy. All right. Stay tuned for more content in the future. Until then, see you soon. Bye.